Well, hello, my spookies. Tonight, we're taking a drive past the last streetlight, beyond the town limits, and straight into the kind of darkness that doesn't just hide monsters, it grows them. Somewhere out there, a whole town has vanished so completely you'd think it had never lived at all. Somewhere else, a slumber party turns into a one-way trip through a doorway no one should ever open. Into a world where the lights still twinkle, but the living are long gone. In a lonely field, a handful of bad ideas and worse intentions stick together something that wants love in the most horrifying way possible. And before the night is over, desire itself puts on fangs, slips into a red dress, and asks, just how much blood are you willing to spill to become what you were always meant to be? So settle in, keep your hands out of the cornrows and away from any mysterious discs. And also, make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast app, because there's always a brand new scary story waiting for you every Wednesday right here on Weekly Spooky. But now, let's begin. I'm from a small town that no longer exists, by Michael KelsoA. I'm from a small Midwestern town I'm sure you've never heard of, and you never will. It wasn't even a dot on the map, just 761 people on their own, in the middle of nowhere. That's why I'm telling this story, so that someone knows what happened here. I remember as a kid, we used to play in the cornfield all the time. We lived on a farm just outside of town. The sidewalk literally began 1 block away from our house. It wasn't much. A single main street with a general store, drugstore, and a hardware store. The grocery store and diner were around the corner just off of the main street. The only reason we had a post office was because the nearest town was 20 miles away. It was the kind of place even Norman Rockwell would miss if he drove through. My brother and sister and I didn't have a lot of toys or games, so we played hide and seek almost non-stop with a few of the other neighborhood kids. We tried playing around the house, but with there usually being 6 or 7 of us, it was just too easy. The best time was during the summer, after the corn got above our heads. Nobody wanted to be the seeker then, because it was literally impossible to find anyone. Games would go on for hours with no one found. Our mom would have to come out and yell for us to come in for meals. The best part of hiding was when the seeker walked right past you. The excitement and sheer terror as you held your breath and tried to stay as still as possible. It was incomparable. I'd nearly pee my pants if the seeker stopped right beside me. There was that moment when you didn't know if they had no clue where you were, or if they knew and were just toying around with you. There were a couple of times when the seeker was indeed toying with me, and they would just stop right beside me, right where I was hiding, then take a step or two and lunge back and grab me. I screamed both times, not the "oh, you got me" squeal that kids do. I mean serious, blood-curdling, everyone is trying to murder me scream. My mother came running to make sure I was okay, and I got in trouble for scaring her so badly. I usually had to sit out the next turn as punishment, watching the cornstalks sway and bend as the pursuers hunted down their prey. The fun suddenly changed when the strangers came to town. I remember there were a lot of strangers around during that time in my life. By strangers, I don't mean people who act odd. They acted much more than odd. Remember when you were a kid and you dressed up as a superhero? This was the same, only these people seemed to be dressed up, pretending to be people. It was weird. We would go to town and some of them would just be standing around, pretending to be nonchalant. They were staring at nothing. Not the 1,000-mile stare some people have, but literally staring at the strangest things. An old man in a rocking chair in front of the general store would sit staring at an unlit streetlight in the middle of the day. A man leaning against a doorframe was staring at his hand as though he had never seen it before. Odd things like that became more and more commonplace, and the people who lived in the town their entire lives started to notice as well. The strangers were approached and asked who they were and where they were from. They would answer without taking their eyes off the object they were focused on. They said they were from a ways off and were traveling to their homeland. That seemed to appease people for a while. Weeks later, when they were still hanging around, folks started to get anxious. My parents told us kids that the strangers were down on their luck and hadn't done anything wrong. That's what they said to our faces, but behind closed doors, I got the feeling they weren't so optimistic. I went to the bathroom one night and had to pass my parents' bedroom to get there. I overheard them talking about the strangers, and Dad saying he would keep the gun loaded in case they ever came around. It seemed odd that these strangers had never done anything wrong, and yet were the subject of such hushed tones and conversations spoken in fear. I remember when our neighbor, Mr. Hutchins, went missing. He was a nice older man in his 60s or 70s, I think. He always gave out full-size candy bars on Halloween. He used to be out every morning early, tending to his animals. We'd see him when we were on our way to school, and he'd always wave to us. One morning, he just wasn't there. We didn't think much of it at the time. We thought maybe he was sick or something. In the evening, he wasn't there either. We told Mom about it, but she said he was probably in town getting groceries or farm supplies. The next morning, when we went to school, there was still no Mr. Hutchins. When we told Mom after school, she decided to go visit in case he had fallen. When there was no answer at the door and the animals were out roaming, Mom decided it was time to call the sheriff. Mom tried to shoo us inside when the sheriff's car showed up, but we went upstairs to Bobby's room and watched out the window. The sheriff knocked and called for Mr. Hutchins, then went inside. He was in there for a long time. We started thinking one of Mr. Hutchins' dogs had chewed him up or something when the sheriff finally came back out. He got into his car and used the radio. The next thing we know, 3 more sheriff's cars show up, and they start going in and out of the house and barn, like a swarm of angry bees. I never could have imagined what they found. We asked Mom about it at supper, and she wasn't too pleased that we had been snooping. Dad was out of town doing his deliveries, but he would have told us to mind our own business and stay out of others' affairs. Mom told us the sheriff didn't know where Mr. Hutchins had gone to, but his truck was still there, so he couldn't have gotten far. They said he might have had a spell and wandered off. They looked for him for 2 days. Then suddenly, he showed up at his house, as if nothing had happened. We were happy he was back, but curious where he'd been. After he came home, he just sat on his porch and stared at the tree in his front yard. We went over to visit him and asked him where he'd been. He just kept staring at the tree, like we weren't even there. "Mr. Hutchins?" I said. "Yes," he said, staring at the tree. "How are you, sir?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. His stare never wavered. Finally, he replied, "Good." "We were wondering where you had gone, sir," Bobby said. "I was—" He seemed to struggle with the right word. "Away." "Well, we're glad you're back, sir," Candace said. "Do you need any help with your animals?" "Animals," he repeated, as if the word was unfamiliar to him. "Yes, sir, taking care of your animals like we've done before," she said. He didn't reply, just stared at the tree. I looked at Bobby and Catherine. They both seemed as shocked as I was that he was ignoring us. We'd always been on good terms with Mr. Hutchins. There were times we would help out around his farm and with his animals. He would reward us with some money or some treats, but always he was grateful for the help. I waved my hand in front of his eyes, and he didn't blink. We shook our heads and walked away. When we got home, we told Mom how he was acting. We told her we thought something was wrong with him, like he was sick. Mom told us to leave him alone, that he'd had a hard time, and we shouldn't be pestering him. But we soon had more to worry about. We played hide and seek all weekend when we weren't doing our chores. It was the last fun weekend of my childhood. We went to school on Monday and got a nasty shock. One of my classmates and buddies that I hung with was Mike. When I got to class, Mike was already in his seat, staring at the blackboard. "Morning, Mike," I said. He didn't move or speak. "What's up with you?" I asked. "You stay up too late last night?" "No," he said, still staring. "So what's with the zombie routine?" I said. "You practicing for Halloween?" "No," he said, not blinking. "Okay, so you're playing a joke on me. Ha ha, very funny. You can return to Earth now, Zombie Mike." He didn't move and stopped talking. "Whatever, man," I said, and let him play his game. All through class, he didn't say a word, even when the teacher called on him. He just sat there and stared at the board. She chided him for ignoring her, but then, when she came over to his desk and waved her hand in front of his eyes, He didn't blink. "Mike?" she said. He didn't answer. "I haven't seen him move in over an hour," I explained. She took him to the nurse, mumbling that maybe he'd had a stroke. When the teacher returned, she was alone and very rattled. She made us read for the rest of the period, while we heard her out in the hallway discussing Mike's odd behavior with another teacher. Mike never came to class that day. When class ended, I approached her. "How's Mike?" I asked. She seemed nervous. I'm not sure," she said. "Is he okay?" "I don't know," she said, getting up and walking to the door. "If you want to know any more about him, you'll have to ask his parents." She held the door open as I walked through it, then shut it and went back to her desk. I saw her pick up her phone. She didn't look very happy as she talked. I went home confused and concerned for my friend. I asked Mom if I could go over to Mike's house to check on him. She told me to go over and come back in an hour for supper. As I walked down the street towards Mike's, I saw more people standing around staring at nothing. It was like they had paused in the middle of whatever they were doing and found something extremely interesting. It was creepy. When I knocked on Mike's door, his mom answered. "Oh, hey, Bill," she said. "Mike isn't feeling well right now." "I know," I said. "I saw him at school today, and he was acting weird. I just wanted to check and see if he was okay." She glanced inside the house. I don't know if you would call it okay or not." "Is he still acting like a zombie?" I said, expecting her to laugh. She shot me a horrified look. "Maybe you should come in and see for yourself." I stepped inside, and she led me back to his room. He was standing there, in the middle of the floor, looking up at the light fixture. It wasn't even turned on. "Hey, buddy," I said. "Just came by to see how you're doing." "Good," he said, still staring. "I was a little worried about you, the way you were acting at school today." He stood silent. "Okay, Mike, whatever game you're playing, you win. Now it's time to snap out of it and be normal again." His gaze slowly slid down from the light and landed on me. "Normal?" he said slowly. "Yeah, normal. You know, like everyone else." He didn't answer, but his stare freaked me out. It was like he was looking at me, but not looking at me at the same time. "You know what, Mike? I've had it with this stupid game. If you don't quit it, we're not friends anymore." "Friends?" he said, staring through me. "Yes, friends. You and I have been friends for years, and you know that." He stood silent and unmoving. "Okay, I'm done," I said, walking out of the room. His mom followed me. "Are you really not going to be friends with him anymore?" she asked. "I was trying to get him to quit playing," I said, peeking around the corner to see Mike staring at the spot where I had been standing. "Did the nurse say anything about what could have happened?" She said it might have been a stroke, but his vital signs say everything is fine. This is too weird, I said. He's acting just like... Like who? She said as I rushed out the door. Like who? She called after me. I ran to Mr. Hutchins' house and found him sitting on the porch. He was staring at the tree like the day we came to talk to him. Mr. Hutchins? I said. What happened when you disappeared? He didn't respond. Mr. Hutchins, I said, grabbing him and giving him a little shake. I need to know. His head slumped forward. I jumped back. Mr. Hutchins? I said, slowly approaching him again. I reached for his neck to feel for a pulse. I waited a long time before realizing there was none. As I pulled my hand away, he grabbed it. I jumped, trying to get away, but his grip was too strong. He stared into my eyes. Normal, he said in a raspy voice that I didn't recognize. Then he slumped over again. When he released me, I ran home. Mom! Mom! I said as I burst in the door. Billy, what is it? It's Mr. Hutchins. Has he gone missing again? She said. No, I think he's dead. She stopped making supper and turned slowly toward me. Dead? Yes. How do you know? I explained what happened with Mike and how I went to Mr. Hutchins' house after. I told her what happened there, and she got this far-off look. Stay here, she said, walking out of the door. I watched her walk over to Mr. Hutchins' house. I saw her look at the body. Then I saw her cover her mouth and run home. When she burst in the door, she went straight for the phone and called 911. Within 15 minutes, there were just as many flashing lights at his house as the day he went missing. The sheriff asked me some questions about it. I don't think he believed me about the grabbing and talking part. He said Mr. Hutchins had been dead for hours. When he was done, we finally had supper. None of us talked much, except for asking to pass the food. After supper, I went to my room and lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling and wondering what was going on. Before I knew it, I had fallen asleep. When I woke up, I was surprised that I was still in my clothes from the day before and had slept on top of my blanket. Usually, if I fall asleep like this, Mom comes in and covers me up. She must have been tired last night from all the excitement. I got up and went out to the kitchen. There was no one there and nothing cooking. That in itself was odd. Mom was always the first one up in the morning, cooking breakfast. Even if we had just cereal, she was up making coffee for her and Dad. It was eerie walking into a dark kitchen and getting my own cereal. I expected her to show up at any moment, but she never did. Bobby and Catherine stumbled into the room and got their breakfast too. Is Mom sick or something? Catherine asked. I don't know. Maybe she's just upset from the whole Mr. Hutchins thing, I said. Bobby just sat and munched on his cereal, half awake. We finished breakfast and got ready for school. Still no Mom. I went to their bedroom and peeked inside. Dad and Mom were both laying in bed. So, I let them sleep. That school day was completely surreal. Half the kids were out sick. I'd never seen anything like it, except on the first day of deer season. Even a couple of the teachers just sat there, staring like Mike had. They didn't talk to us all day. We just sat there, reading or talking quietly to each other, hoping that no one would be loud enough to break the teacher out of her stupor. I knew something was wrong. The strangers had done something to make these people into these weird zombies. I wish I had another word for it because I hadn't seen anyone trying to attack or bite anyone else. At least, not yet. They just hang around like zombies before they attack. I just hoped the attack would never come. When we got home from school that day, Mom and Dad were still in bed. I went into their room and stood beside them. Mom's eyes were wide open, staring at the wall. "Mom," I said, "are you okay?" "Yes," she said without blinking. "Is Dad okay?" "Yes." "Have you been in bed all day?" She didn't answer. "Are you going to cook supper?" She didn't answer. I waved my hand in front of her face, and she didn't blink. "Please, Mom. Please snap out of it. We need you." For the slightest moment, her eyes met mine, and a single teardrop fell from her eye. Then she went back to staring at the wall. I went out and told Bobby and Catherine that they were still in bed, and I didn't think they'd be coming out anytime soon. "Should we call someone?" Catherine asked. "Like who?" Bobby said. "I don't know, the doctor maybe?" she thought. "Okay," I said, pulling out the phone book and looking up the number for the doctor. I dialed and waited as it rang and rang. "No one's answering," I said. "Who else can we call?" she replied. "We used to ask Mr. Hutchins for help when we needed it," Bobby solemnly said. A horrible thought suddenly struck me. "You don't think Mom and Dad will end up?" I said, unable to finish the sentence. "Like Mr. Hutchins?" Catherine said. I nodded. Bobby started to cry. "We don't know that'll happen," Catherine said. "Mr. Hutchins was old, much older than Mom and Dad." Bobby sniffled a few times and stopped crying. "So what do we do now?" he asked. "Let's make some sandwiches for us and for Mom and Dad. We can take them in and see if they're hungry," I suggested. We did exactly that, but neither of them responded. They just laid in bed, staring at the walls. The three of us ate our sandwiches and put ourselves to bed. We agreed to call the doctor again in the morning, and if he didn't answer, we'd call the sheriff. None of us went straight to sleep that night. We were too worried about Mom and Dad. I was also worried about Mike. This whole thing seemed like it was something out of a late-night movie. I couldn't imagine it being real. I kept trying to pinch myself to wake up from this bad dream. Before I knew it, I could hear my brother and sister's breathing settle into the rhythm of sleep. I smiled for the first time in a while, listening to them in peaceful slumber. As I listened, I heard another sound. Floorboards creaking. I froze at the thought of a burglar breaking in and Dad not being able to do anything about it. The steps came closer. I huddled under my blanket for protection. The door creaked open. I snuck a glance and felt immediate relief. It was Mom. She was still dressed in her nightgown. She moved slowly to Catherine's bed and lifted her up. She turned and carried her out of the room. Then Dad came in and carried out Bobby. I got up and followed. "Mom? Dad?" I said. "Where are you taking them?" Mom already had the door open and was walking outside. Dad stopped and looked at me. "Don't worry," he said. "We'll come back for you." Then they walked out into the cool night. My blood froze. I didn't know where they were going, but I knew I didn't want to go there. I threw my shoes on and stepped outside. As I flew down the stairs, I saw a strange light at the end of our driveway. There were two silhouettes in it, and they were heading back toward the house. I squinted against the light, trying to see if it was my parents, or whatever those things were that looked like my parents. As the figures grew closer, I could see they were empty-handed. I stood in the middle of our yard, frozen with fear. I didn't know what to do. If I went back inside, they would find me and take me to be turned into a zombie too. I couldn't run to Mr. Hutchins' house. Running to town would leave me wide open to be chased. I turned round and round in a panic, looking for options. The barn was an option, but not a good one. There weren't many places to hide there. Then it hit me. Hiding places. Where was my best hiding place? I ran into the cornfield. It was nearly harvest time, and the corn was as tall as it was going to get. It was dark, and would be even darker in the rows. The only light came from the house and whatever was at the end of our driveway. I threw myself into the forest of green stalks and ran. Partway in, I stopped and realized what I'd done. I had run in a straight line, making myself an easy target. I refocused on my usual hide-and-seek strategy. I started from where I was, counted a certain number of rows up, and a certain number over. I was careful to move slowly and disturb the cornstalks as little as possible. I duck-walked, staying as low to the ground as possible and moving as quietly as I could. I was near where I wanted to hide when something in my head told me to stop where I was. It was almost totally dark. The lights from the house and that thing cast strange shadows at the base of the corn. I could barely see a few feet in front of me. I resisted the urge to sit down and instead stayed in my crouched position on my toes, so I could be ready to bolt at a moment's notice. I settled into my spot and focused on slowing my breathing. My adrenaline fought against me, telling me to run and never stop. I pushed those thoughts aside and tried to be as silent as possible. The air was still. There was no wind and nothing moved. Each time I inhaled and exhaled, it sounded like a steam engine chugging to get up a hill. Any movement I made, I heard the creak of the soles of my sneakers. I could even hear my neck muscles as I turned slowly, searching for any pursuers. It was like my body was conspiring against me, bound and determined to get caught. Somehow, over all the racket I was making, I heard a sound. I closed my eyes and focused on listening. For a long moment, there was nothing. I mean, nothing. Not even the nightly crickets were singing. And then I heard it again. Someone was in the cornfield. They were moving slowly. I tried to tell if it was one or many. At first I couldn't, but then I heard another sound coming from behind me. They were still a little ways off. I thought they had just entered. I painted a mental picture of how close they were. My mental map showed me one coming from the direction of the house and one from the driveway. As I heard them getting closer, I had to fight to stay still. My mind was screaming at me to run. I knew from so many hide-and-seek sessions that was the worst thing to do. I kept my eyes closed and waited for them to pass by. Then I would sneak out in the other direction. That plan seemed to appease my nerves enough to get them to stop yelling. I heard one of them approaching. They were coming right at me. I could see the stalks beside me moving. But I stayed still. 2 rows before one of my pursuers would have literally run me over. But they stopped. It seemed like there was a moment of indecision, and then they started off again, in a different direction. I wanted to breathe a sigh of relief, but the other one was still approaching. They were walking slowly up the row beside the one I was in. They walked right beside me and stopped. I recognized my dad's boots. I just didn't know what was wearing them now. He turned towards me. I knew I was done. There was nowhere I could run that he wouldn't catch me. I kept my eyes closed, refusing to move, even to look up at the man I called father, or what he had become. He stood there, unmoving for what seemed like an eternity. Self-preservation was all that kept me from surrendering. I had seen these empty shells of people I used to love, and I wanted to survive to pass the memories of who they were before. He turned and took a step away from me, then another. I wanted to jump for joy. I wanted to run as I'd never ran before. But mostly I wanted to be careful. I remembered the times playing hide and seek when the seeker pretended to walk away, only to turn around and lunge at me. I held my breath as his footsteps continued away from me. I counted to 100 before I would allow myself to move. As I started to sneak away, I saw an ear of corn lying on the ground. I picked it up and threw it as hard as I could in the opposite direction of my escape route. When it landed, I heard both of my pursuers converge on it. I ran quickly and quietly away from them. Before I knew it, I was at the edge of the cornfield near the road. I peeked out and saw the light at the end of my driveway. It didn't look like headlights from a vehicle. It was just a bright light hovering a few feet off the ground. It was so bright I couldn't tell what it was attached to, or if it was attached to anything. At this point, I didn't know what I believed anymore. I just knew someone or something had taken the people I loved and turned them into zombies. No, zombies wasn't right. It was more like robots. They would just stare at whatever until needed. Then they would be called to action, like Mom and Dad. I turned away from the light and ran. It wasn't long until I heard a strange sound. It was like a mechanical scream. It chilled my bones to hear it. It seemed to be coming from behind me. The light was getting brighter, too. I knew it was following me. Dad dashed out of the cornfield and tried to grab me, but I was already out of his reach. I could hear him running behind me when Mom came around the corner, and I nearly ran into her. I have no idea how I avoided her open arms. Maybe somewhere along the line there was some football player genes in me, but I did a stiff arm spin move that would make any running back proud. I ran like my life depended on it. Which it did. My legs were burning, my lungs were on fire, I had a stitch in my side, and yet I kept running. My parents and the light chasing right behind me, just waiting for me to trip or make some mistake. I was almost in town when a light shone in front of me. It also hovered just above the ground. I was trapped, with nowhere left to go. I stopped. It wasn't more than a heartbeat until Dad had a hold of me. Mom was right behind him. They each grabbed an arm and turned me around to head back towards the driveway light. At least they were walking, and I could take a breather before being turned into a zombie robot. The light behind us got brighter, and I heard a strange sound from that direction. They sounded somewhat familiar, though. As the light got closer, suddenly my dad started convulsing. He fell to the ground, followed shortly by my mom. Someone ran up and grabbed me. "Come on, kid," a large man said. "Let's get you out of here." I turned from my unconscious parents to the man. He was in a soldier's uniform and holding a taser. He dropped it and ran with me halfway over his shoulder toward the other light. As we got closer, I turned to see it was a helicopter. It touched down just long enough for us to get on and then take off. I watched as we flew over my parents laying there, looking very dead. "Could the shock bring them out of it?" I asked hopefully. "Sorry, kid. It doesn't work that way," he replied. "Once they've turned, there's no going back." A tear slid down my cheek as I watched my parents disappear into the distance. I looked back at the house I had lived in my entire life, and hopelessness overwhelmed me. For a fleeting moment, I felt like I would have been better off with them. At least we would all be together as a family. My eyes caught a long line of lights driving into town. "What's that?" I said, pointing at the lights. "Containment," he said. "What's that mean?" "It means we can't let anyone escape who's been infected." "Infected?" He shrugged. "I don't have a better word for it." I thought for a moment. "Am I infected?" He looked at me. "Are you talking?" "Yes." Are you staring mindlessly at inanimate objects? No, you're not infected. I slumped back in the seat and closed my eyes, happy to be alive, but incredibly sad for those I'd lost. I don't remember falling asleep, but when I woke, we were on a military base. The soldiers were hustling around like ants on an anthill. A man in a suit came over to the helicopter and took me inside. What happened next is a long story that I might tell someday. Suffice it to say for now that, after a long time, I was taken to a foster family who raised me as their own. The town I used to live in ceased to exist. I never saw a single soul from there ever again. I was told I was the only one that was rescued that night before. I don't want to get into that right now. I've tried going back, but it's surrounded by a fence with no trespassing, government property signs posted every 20 feet. It surrounds the entire town. I can see my old house from the fence, but no matter what I do, they won't let me back in. I have to wonder if they don't have the people in there, standing around, staring at nothing, waiting to die. I've searched the internet for any traces of the town. There aren't any. It's like every piece of history, every shred of proof that the town ever existed has been erased. I've talked to others who've heard of similar experiences. The words paranormal, possession, and alien come up the most for possible explanations, but I wonder if it isn't something deeper than that, if it isn't something so sinister that explanations could be dangerous. Maybe it's for the best. Maybe I should just drop the whole thing and move on with my life. I just can't help but wonder what really went on. It's a mystery I need to unravel. For Mom, Dad, Bobby, Catherine, Mike, Mr. Hutchins, and everyone else whose life was erased. First by whoever or whatever did this to them, and then by those who want to cover it up. I posted this to let everyone know about the people who used to be my friends, family, and neighbors. I don't want their memories to be in vain, but mostly I don't want to allow others to fall into the same trap. If you see someone staring at nothing in particular, and they refuse to speak, get away from them as soon as you can. They aren't as lost and helpless as you think. How many other tiny towns in the middle of nowhere have suffered the same fate? I wonder.
Doorway to Horror by Rob Fields. Perspective, Madeline Donnerly. You just know it's Friday for a couple reasons. The first is because you know as soon as you're done with school, it's the weekend. The second is a couple hands slamming on the table I'm sitting at in the cafeteria at lunchtime. Yes? I ask Ariel Mirren. I hate you, mouse, Ariel growls. Then she points right at me. I will never give up. I will see you scared out of your wits one of these days. I'm laughing inside now. If only Ariel knew how many opportunities she could have had to see me get scared. Well, I sure ain't gonna tell her. Still, I can't really say she'll never get me. I'm sure one of these days will be her lucky day. Ariel puts her hands on the table again, softer now. Slumber party at my house tonight. Same time as last Friday. You still bringing those Christmas movies over you said you just got? Unless you want me to bring some other stuff, I reply. No, bring those. Also, Mona said she's got a movie for us to see tonight. She sits down now. You ever heard of a movie called Doorway to Horror? Can't say I have. Then I pull out my phone and do some searching. I ain't even seen it on IMDb or any of the other sites. Now, I did find an old VHS horror game called Doorways to Horror. Not exactly the same thing, I don't think. Did Mona tell you where she got it? Nuh-uh. Ariel looks uneasy. Once in a while, Mona will find something. She's not you or Bailey, though. You two know your movies. Speaking of Bailey, that's one of the movies we're seeing tonight. It's a Christmas horror story. Ariel raises her finger. Oh, hey, gate code changed yesterday. She tells it to me. You got it, Mouse? Yup. Then Ariel narrows her eyes on me. You haven't seen Carter around here, have you? I shake my head. Don't tell me he's posting videos of you on Facebook again. She nods quickly. He always seems to be there whenever I got Stuart with me. She points right at me. You're not covering for him, are you? You think I forgot you two are best buds? I promise you I ain't covering for him. Ariel holds out her little finger. You willing to pinky promise on it? I make the pinky promise with her. I really don't know where he is. Maybe he's with the other guys. Ariel shakes her head. Nope. Look. I look to where she's pointing. Bill Chapman, Richie Horton, and Brian Chunk are coming into the cafeteria. No Carter, though. A moment later, the guys come over to us. Ariel confronts him. Where's Carter? I know you guys know where he is. What makes you think we'd even tell you if we did know? Chapman replies. He's the tough guy with the burr haircut. I'm not above administering decisive methods of torture on you guys, Ariel replies. All I have to do is divide and conquer. Chunker points at her and tells the other two, Aw, this I gotta see. He's the husky guy wearing the cargo shorts with an open Hawaiian shirt over a black t-shirt. Don't tempt fate, you guys, Horton warns him. He's the skinny guy wearing the glasses with circular lenses. I keep telling you how evil Ariel Mirren is. One of these days you're going to wish you'd have listened to me. Ariel smirks. I'd be listening to Horton if I were you guys. She points to him. But you're not off the hook. Horton grins and looks her in the eyes. Why don't you just look over your left shoulder? Ariel quickly turns and sees my buddy and next-door neighbor Carter Cross. The next thing we know, Ariel's running off and chasing Carter down. Yesterday, he recorded a video of Ariel and Stuart at Denoyer's Grill. He slipped away and started running around and wreaking havoc. I know this because she texted me asking for help. 911 at Denoyer's. Stuart! Fortunately for Ariel, I happened to be in the area on my mongoose and stopped in. I was able to get Stuart to calm down and behave. I don't know what it is about that little guy, but he likes me enough to where he always minds me. I don't even have to yell at him. Anyway, Carter was already there before me and recording Ariel losing her mind. He put the video on Facebook and got everybody laughing at her. When the guys get their lunches, they come and sit with me. The four of us have some good conversation before we gotta go back to class. That night, I'm walking to Ariel's house. When I reach the Mirren gated community, I punch in the new code and go in. Never seems to fail. Every time I walk to Ariel's on Friday nights, there's always a few Mirrens who walk past me and give me looks like I don't belong inside. I gotta walk a few blocks before I get to Capitol Court. When I reach the double doors, one of them opens. Ariel appears and says, Wow, you're actually here before Mona and Bailey, Mouse. Then she steps aside and lets me come in. It's about 20 minutes later when Mona Abels and Bailey Downs finally show up. Sorry, Ariel, Mona says. I had to help Mom with something at home. You're good, Ariel replies. After the week I've had, I just want to hang with my girls and let loose. At least your aunt never dropped Stuart off here while we're having our slumber parties, Bailey says. Ariel points right at her. You do not even get to say that. Mona and Bailey laugh a little. Ariel gives me that look that asks why she puts up with him. I give her a smirk that says not to worry about it. After some socializing, Ariel gets the pizzas ordered. From there, we start spinning some movies. First up is A Christmas Horror Story. As soon as the name of the town is mentioned, Bailey gives us all weird looks. First Ginger Snaps and now this one, she mutters. What other movies have the town named the same as mine? Orphan Black, I reply. It's a TV series. Bailey points right at Ariel. Why do I get the feeling you had something to do with this? Was this because Mona and I weren't spending the night at the mall with you last weekend? Then Ariel grabs a pillow and throws it at Bailey. She catches it and laughs. Ariel points at her. Not funny. Then she smirks. Okay, Bailey, you can go out and get our pizzas then. Bailey gets off the couch. Fine. Perspective, Bailey Downs. After I bring our pizzas in, Mouse resumes the Blu-ray of A Christmas Horror Story. I have the feeling Ariel put Mouse up to bringing this movie over, in spite of the fact that it takes place in a town with the same name as mine. It is a really good horror anthology, though. I really love the twist in the Santa vs. Krampus story. We also watched the original Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night. We don't get to lay down for the night after 3 movies. Mona announces that she's got a movie she wants us to see, which is called Doorway to Horror. When Ariel asks what it's about, Mona doesn't know. Believe it or not, I found it just sitting on a table in study hall. It's a burned Blu-ray, but it plays. I put it in my laptop and checked it. The opening scene looks really creepy, so I thought I'd bring it to the sleepover to share. Ariel turns to Mouse. I'm guessing you didn't turn up anything else on it? Mouse shrugs. I tried all kinds of searches when I got home. Nothing. So we sit back and let Mona spin her find. There are all kinds of Christmas things in the movie, but the town looks like something out of a post-apocalyptic story. We're eating more pizza and drinking some more of the Cokes that Mona and I snuck over in our backpacks. You gotta love that Mrs. Mirren won't let her own family drink any sugary sodas. It's diet or nothing. The 4 of us are talking about the movie once it's over. There really wasn't any dialogue or anything. Maybe David Lynch lost the 1 copy of a new movie he was working on, I half joke. We've seen some pretty weird stuff since we started doing our sleepovers years ago, Ariel says. You've brought over stuff like this before, Mouse. I ain't denying it, she agrees. Doorway to Horror still don't ring a bell with me, though. Guess you made a rare find, Mona. Yeah, kudos, I tell my best friend. We talk for a little while longer before we're finally yawning our heads off. The nice thing about this big living room is there are enough couches for all of us to sleep on. Ariel sleeps on one too, even though her bedroom is the first one on entering the hallway. It don't take us all long to fall asleep. Perspective, Mona Abels. I'm the first one to wake up. I yawn and feel how parched I am. Knowing we still got cans of Coke left, I grab one and feel grateful. I stop drinking and notice something weird. Did I just take a power nap or something? 'Cause it still seems like it's dark out. I look at my smartwatch and see it's blank across the screen. I find my smartphone underneath my pillow and see the same blanks where the date and time should be. Then I see Mouse's phone and look at hers. She's got the same blanks too. Seriously, what gives? I need to see what time it is. As soon as I come out of my comforter, I'm quickly wrapping my arms around myself and start shivering. Boy, it's really cold in Ariel's mansion. So cold I can see my own breath, like when I'm outside. I see Ariel's bedroom door open and peek inside. My eyes are wide when I see there's no windows. I mean, the cold's just blowing right into the house. I walk down the hall to the next bedroom and see there ain't no windows there either. Then I hear movement and return to the living room. Ariel's getting out from underneath her comforter. Why is it so cold in here? Then Ariel sees me. Mona? Why aren't there any windows, Ariel? I ask. She gives me a weird look. What? No, I'll show you. I grab Ariel's hand and bring her to her own room. You have got to be kidding me, Ariel gasps. We move to a few other rooms and see no windows. We go into the bathroom. Normally there's scented pillar candles on either side of the mirror on the sink. Looks like there's only one that remains of the said candles. When we come back out, we see Bailey and Mouse are up now. Boy, it sure got cold fast, Bailey states. What I wouldn't give for some hot coffee right now, Mouse mutters. Then Mouse turns and walks to the front window. She turns to us fast. There's only a big window shade here, as in, no big window here. What's going on, Ariel? Ariel goes to Mouse and sees for herself. What on earth is going on here? Beats me, Mouse answers. And what time is it? Ariel snaps. That's what I've been trying to find out, I say. Our phones and watches ain't working. Ariel quickly goes to the closet and starts tossing us our jackets. We take them and head into separate rooms to get changed. We're all dressed to go outside now. But when we do go outside... What the? Bailey gasps. Everything looks like what we saw in your movie, Mona, Ariel states. Aw man, you gotta be kidding me, Mouse groans. Not again. We all look right at Mouse now. Do you know something about this? Ariel asks her. If we are where I think we are, we're gonna be in terrible danger. Fast, Mouse quickly answers. Just spit it out, Mouse, I snap. We ain't in Strickfield no more. Perspective, Ariel Mirren. I give Mouse wide eyes. Excuse me? I was really hoping to never see this place ever again, Mouse groans. Then she tells us we need to go back inside. We go back inside the house. Then I get an idea and turn on my smartphone flash. What in the... Are you serious? Mona adds. No, we're not seeing things. My house is trashed, and I mean trashed. Then I point right at Mouse. Okay, start talking. Mouse brings up the night in October when she went to the horror-thon at the Strickfield Centennial Theater with her twin cousin Aileen, Carter Cross, and Bella Tabon. They had watched a screening of a film called The Portal. It was like everything had changed. Places were trashed, much like my house. Windows were mostly missing in the homes. It was night all the time, but what was worse, everybody was a vampire. The four of them barely escaped this place and made it back to Strickfield. Mouse says we're in an alternate universe, where it's all vampires. We're all in terrible danger, she finishes. Any of those vampires sees us, they'll be after us. Here it's like Marvel zombies. After everybody suddenly became vampires, they drank up all the living people they could get their hands on. Now, like those zombies after a few days, they're out of food. Bailey quickly waves her hands in front of her. Okay, assuming Mouse isn't making this stuff up here, how did we get here? It had to have been that movie Mona brought over, Doorway to Horror, Mouse guesses. Mona points right at Mouse. Oh, no you don't. You ain't blaming me for this, you wicked little rodent. I raise my hand in front of me. No, I think Mouse is right, Mona. Everything we saw in that disc you brought over was much like where we are now. Nobody's blaming you about this place, but you did bring that disc over. Let's find the disc then, Mouse says. We can watch it again and get back home. We had to re-watch The Portal to get back home 2 months ago. We searched through everything. All the movies Mouse brought over are still here. But the disc Mona brought is gone. Where is it? Mona shrieks. Oh wait, here it is. She raises it up for us to see. I point to Mona. Keep hold of that. Now we just have to find something to watch it on. That'll be easier said than done, Mouse says. Power's a little hard to come by here. They shattered every window, every mirror. I don't know how they're keeping it night here, but they're doing it. Then I see Bailey move toward the kitchen. I follow her and see her opening one of the 2 refrigerators. She turns to me. Whatever food we've got, We're going to have to ration it until we can find more. Without power, the refrigerators aren't working. Also, we can't eat a single bite of the food in either of them. I point to the cupboards. We search them in the pantry and find a few things we can take with us. We head back out to the others. There's not much here. Maybe for a day, 2 tops. I divide the food evenly between all of us, including the Cokes and what was left of the pizzas. What are we doing? Mona asked. You heard Mouse, I tell her. We've got to find something to play this disc to get back home. We're going to have to leave and find some place. In fact, I quickly unplug the Blu-ray player and stuff it in my backpack. We make a quick plan and agree we need to go downtown. We stay together, everybody, I stress. Before we leave, Mouse hands everybody crosses she made. Whatever you do, don't lose them. Mouse just gave me an idea. We probably should stop by a church, Bailey suggests. Mouse points to her. Good thinking. We all wish each other good luck before we head out through the front doors. Perspective, Madeline Donner. So much for us going to churches. We hit a few in downtown Village and saw they were wrecked. The windows were all broken out, pews were destroyed or overturned, even the altars were busted up. What was even worse were the skeletons with their religious garb still on. Only thing I can figure is whatever happened to turn people into vampires didn't hit everybody. The ones that weren't turned became food for the vamps. At least our trips to the 2 churches weren't total washouts. We managed to find some holy wafers and even some holy water itself. Sure would be nice if we had squirt guns like in the Lost Boys, but all we found were a few vials and bottles. We leave the second church and sneak over to a few markets. We don't find much in terms of food, just dry goods and a few cans of soup. The refrigerators and freezers probably haven't been working in a very long time, so the food in them won't be any good. We duck in back of Wilder's Market to work out another plan. Everybody has ideas to bring to the table. Then Ariel suggests heading out to Strickfield Town Center Mall. Mona turns to her. You do realize how far the mall is from downtown Village, right? And on foot? Who said anything about walking? Ariel replies. Then she looks my way. We find a car and get Mouse here to drive it. Mona gives her a weird look. You have got to be kidding me. Ariel shakes her head. Nope. You should have seen her drive at the mall last weekend. Bailey sighs. Okay, let's do it. There are plenty of cars outside. I would imagine we can find one that works. Ariel slaps my arm. You up for it, Mouse? I shrug. I guess I ain't got a choice. Mona groans. Yeah, we're gonna die. Bailey scoffs at Mona. Oh, have a little faith, will ya? Mona groans again, then she notices something. You know, we've seen a lot of Christmas stuff. You think all this went down during the holidays? She looks sad now. What a time for something like a vampire apocalypse to happen. The rest of us are sad for a moment. Then we head out back to the parking lot where there's a nice selection of cars to choose from. We can't be picky, you guys, Bailey says. Just find one that's got keys. I raise my finger. Just one thing. Once we get a car started, if there's any vamps nearby, they're gonna hear it. We gotta be ready for that. And you know this how? Mona sneers. I don't want to tell her how I know without giving away my connection to Mary Worth and Cousin Aileen's BFF Bells. I just know, okay? Yeah, we're gonna die, Mona repeats. We split up and look for cars. After some minutes, Mona gets our attention. We come over to her. Keys are in the ignition, doors are unlocked. When Ariel starts looking it over, Bailey groans. Come on, it's not going to be a fancy limo you're used to being in. Ariel gasps. Really, Bailey? I'm checking the car to make sure it looks good, you know? For flat tires and stuff. Okay, sorry, Bailey mutters. Looks good, Ariel says. Okay, Mouse, get behind the wheel and hope this thing starts. Aw, man, I squeak when I open the door and get in. Now I feel Ariel's hand on my shoulder. Are you actually scared, Mouse? I glance over my shoulder. Aw, please. Which is a lie. This little mousie is definitely scared. I just don't want Ariel seeing it on me. I turn the key and... Perspective, Bailey Downs. The engine cranks and cranks and cranks. Ugh. You guys, look! Oh God, Mona shrieks. Vamps! Start the car, Mouse! I'm trying, Mouse cries. The vampires are leaping from car to car, or they're running. It's when they're almost to us that the car finally starts. Go, Mouse, go! Ariel yells. Mouse has to study the controls. Okay, hoping I can do this. Never drove a stick. Now I put a hand on her shoulder. You're a gamer, Mouse. You're not here with us right now. You're in Roth's Rings, playing a racing game. Go with that. Okay, let's hope I got this, Mouse stammers. Just as the vamps are shattering the windows, Mouse puts the car in gear and stutters a little. Then she takes a deep breath and shifts again. Finally, we're moving away. We pull out of the parking lot and out onto Main Street. Mouse hits the clutch and shifts again. Looks like she's got the hang of it now. There ain't no mirrors on this car, Mona says, riding shotgun. You wouldn't see any vamps in the mirrors even if we did have them, Mouse tells her. No reflections! The little squeaker's right, Ariel says, looking out the back. We got bats coming fast. I hate you, Mouse. Yeah, Mouse mutters. We good on gas? Mona asks Mouse. Don't know. Gas gauge just shot from half a tank all the way down to the big E fast. Hopefully we'll be able to get to the mall. Then I'm having second thoughts. I didn't think this through. Maybe the mall's ravaged too. Everything's probably ravaged, Bailey, Ariel says, but we have to try and look for some place that has power. In fact, I think I have an idea. Ariel explains that the hardware store in the mall should have gasoline-powered generators. All we have to do is find one. Then we would siphon the gas out of the cars at the mall and power it. From there, we find a TV, hook up the Blu-ray player, and then we're back home. That'll be easier said than done, I say. But what else is there? Mouse keeps the car going. Ariel and I are still seeing the bats flapping after us. We have to get them off our backs if we're going to make your plan work, Ariel. Mouse has something. I got an idea for that. When we get to the mall, I'll drive around to the under-mall parking garage. I won't pull inside, though. I'll drop you three off there, and then hopefully the vamps will keep following me. How will you make it back? I ask. We can't go home without you. Let me worry about that. You guys work on getting Ariel's plan to work. I put my hand on Mouse's shoulder. You just make sure you get back to us. And try not to get vamped or eaten, Mona adds. Hey, I want to go back home too. We all got something to return to, right? Trust me. I'll make it back, Mouse promises. Ariel takes a deep breath. Then she just says it. Carter Cross asked me out last weekend, when we were at the mall. I never did give him an answer. I turn to her. Seriously? Mona turns around. No way! Then she bumps Mouse's shoulder. Did you know? You and Carter are BFFs. I know you tell each other everything. Mouse shakes her head. Nope. But it's no secret in our group that Carter and Ariel like each other. I hate you, Mouse, Ariel growls. Mouse shrugs. I'm just saying. Ariel bows her head, looking sad. I'm just wishing I would have told him I'd go out with him. She raises her head. That's why I want to make it and get back home. I'm sure you girls have something to return to, too. My family, I quickly say. Denoyer's Grill, Mona gushes. I don't want to be stuck here in some vampire universe and no Denoyer's Grill. Or no coffee, Mouse adds. I think it's safe to say we all loved our lives in Strickfield before this happened, I say. Then a thought. Did you make it out this way when you were here last, Mouse? Nope. We got as far as Strickfield Academy. Wish I could tell you more than what I already know. Okay, we're here. Turning in. Mouse turns us into a mall entrance and floors it, making sure she shifts when she needs to. Wow, I can't believe little Mouse learned to drive playing all those racing video games. Honestly, I thought she was an oddball when Ariel invited her to join our group. Mona and I didn't like her for the longest time. However, Mouse grows on you after a while. I'm just glad she's with us right now. She's the reason we're all still alive. Get ready, Mouse tells us. Mouse drifts us again as we round the mall and head for the under-mall parking garage. Before we get there, she hits the brakes and swerves to a stop. Go! Mouse belts out. Ariel, Mona, and I quickly get out of the car. After we slam the doors shut, Ariel belts back at Mouse. Go! Mouse floors it as we're in the garage and hiding out of sight. The bats are flying after Mouse. I just hope they don't see the three of us ain't in the car with her. Even more so, I hope they don't get Mouse. Perspective, Mona Abels. The three of us wait for a little bit. We ain't seeing no vamps in the sky. I think we're good. They're all after Mouse. We better get a move on, Bailey says. We may be on borrowed time as it is. We walk in the under-mall parking garage and come to the mall entrance there. The doors are ripped right off, so no worries on whether that entrance was locked or not. We walk the corridor and go up the steps. Soon we're in the food court, coming out at the double doors beside Scotto's Pizza. Even though it's dark all through the mall, we can see enough to see there are Christmas decorations all over the place. There's tinsel hanging off the ceilings, fully decorated Christmas trees spread out, animatronic scenes, though they're not working with no electricity, and there's the Santa's house not too far from where we are. Salmo's Hardware is down by J.C. Penney, Ariel says. Oh, I sure hope so, I groan. What do you mean? Ariel demands. Mouse said we're in a parallel universe, right? How do we know things are going to be the same here as back home? I state. She's got a point, Bailey tells Ariel, but we still need to check, Mona. Ariel takes a deep breath. Okay, I'm going to head out and look around. I'll signal when the coast is clear. We should just go out together, Bailey counters. You know, safety in numbers. Okay, fine, Ariel replies. Come on. We start walking away from Scotto's Pizza. We can see the mall's wrecked, but it doesn't look all that bad. I mean, the gates look messed up and some of the store signs are damaged. I don't know, it's like someone's gone to lengths to try to make this mall look nice again. Then I have a gut feeling. You guys, I don't think we're alone in here, I tell them, then explain why. I don't look for this to be easy, Ariel agrees. Look out! Bailey suddenly shrieks. We see someone flying right at us and quickly get out of the way. How dare you come into my mall? A voice roars behind us. Then we make the mistake of stopping and looking behind us. It's Harmony Mirren, my cousin, Ariel gasps. She owns this mall. Your cousin? I ask. The one who had you hanging decorations here last weekend? Ariel nods quickly. Yeah, except she wasn't all vamped out like this Harmony is. Then Harmony sniffs our way. Her human face suddenly shifts into one that looks like the Joker, only with lots and lots of sharp teeth. Food! I'm ready to turn and run, but Ariel quickly stops me. We can't outrun her. Use your head. Or better yet, Ariel pulls out her cross that Mouse made, just as Harmony's flying our way. She shrieks and suddenly drops to the floor. Bailey and I join her and keep Harmony down. Start walking back, Ariel tells us. We do what Ariel says and start moving in the direction of J.C. Penney. Harmony gets back to her feet, but advances very slowly. You really think you're going to be safe from me? Harmony hisses. The last mortals who came into my mall made a very tasty candlelit dinner. She points a very long finger at us. I think I'll have you three by candlelight as well. She laughs a horrible laughter. Especially since today is Christmas. Yeah, we don't plan on staying, Bailey tells her. I don't care about your plans, Harmony yells. I only care about my home here at my mall. Other vampires and mortals tried to take what was mine, but I showed them the error of their ways. Nobody takes what's mine. Nobody. Oh, we're not here to take anything from you, Ariel says. We actually just want to visit your beautiful mall, dear cousin, and I must say you've done very well with the Christmas decorations. Harmony growls a dangerous growl. Then she howls at us. The next thing we know, she's suddenly gone. Help! She's got me! Oh no, she warped right behind Bailey. Harmony suddenly pulls Bailey to her and leaps back with her. Drop those crosses or I promise you, I'll drink this one up for some early Christmas Day punch right here and now. Don't do it! Bailey yells. She'll drink me anyway! Ariel holds out her hand. Just stop, Harmony. We're not here to take anything from your mall. We just want to go home. But we need a few things in your mall to help us get there. Then Ariel moves her arm around. Like I said, you've really made this place look great. I mean, your Christmas decorations are so lovely. She raises her finger. But what if we could really brighten up the place? I mean, what if we could light up the Christmas trees and stuff? Harmony growls again. Then she grabs Bailey's head and cocks it to expose her neck. She raises her head, ready to lower it, to bite her. Stop! What do you want, Harmony? Ariel cries. I already have you. You are mortals. You are food, Harmony yells. And today, you are Christmas dinner. Ariel puts her cross down. Okay, look, see? No cross. Now I'm going to come to you. I'll switch places with Bailey, okay? Then you can have me. Suddenly, Harmony appears right behind Ariel and snatches her up. Weren't you listening, mortal? I already have you. She points right at me. As for your pathetic crosses, my cross suddenly catches fire. I cry out and drop it. The other crosses are on fire too. Harmony moves her mouth to Ariel's ear. And exactly how will you light up my Christmas display when there's no power? She seems to calm down a little bit. I would love to see Christmas lights one more time. There hasn't been a Christmas since the plague came years ago. I'm so very hungry, but I would forsake my hunger just to see my mall brightly lit for Christmas one more time. We can talk then? Ariel asks. Harmony lets her go, then morphs her face back to normal. I would hear you. She points to a table in the food court. Sit. We reluctantly move to the table and sit with Harmony. As Ariel's digging into her backpack, Harmony quickly snatches her wrist. Do not try and trick me, and especially do not play on my generosity. Ariel pulls out a Coke. I just needed something to drink. Harmony nods. After Ariel has her drink, she explains to Harmony that we can't get the power back on completely. However, if Salmo's Hardware still has a gas-powered generator, we can siphon gas from the cars, then we can connect extension cords to the Christmas trees and the animatronics to get them working. At least, for a little while. Harmony considers Ariel. Then she says, my parents were too greedy to install backup generators when they built this mall. I wish I'd have thought to correct that mistake in life. Okay, I'll take you to Salmo's Hardware. One wrong move, and it's dinner time. I won't worry about Christmas Day candlelight. We leave the food court and walk to the hardware store. Using our smartphone lights, we look around until we find what we're looking for. Perspective, aerial mirroring. We find only 4 gas-powered generators, still in the box. We're probably not going to be able to light up your whole mall, Harmony. I just want the Christmas lights, the big tree, and the displays around the food court powered, Harmony replies. I point to Mona. Grab all the extension cords. I point to Bailey. Gas cans and a rubber hose to siphon the fuel. Harmony and I start ripping open the boxes and getting the generators ready. When my girls return, we talk. I piled up all the extension cords at the store's entrance, Mona says. I also piled up as many gas cans as I could find, which wasn't much, Bailey adds. Then she glares at me. I suppose Mona and I get to siphon the gas now. I get where Bailey's coming from. No, I'll go out and do it. We don't have time for this. Bailey quickly puts a hand on my shoulder. No, you're right. I'm sorry. Go get the generators and the extension cord set up. I'll go out and get the gas. I ain't letting you go out there by yourself, Mona snaps. You know what? Let's all go get the gas, I suggest. At least it'll be one thing we won't have to do later. Harmony suddenly appears. Do not even think about escaping. I am too resolved for things such as that. I tell Harmony we're just going down to the parking garage to siphon gas from the cars there. Maybe you could come with us. You can say we're your slaves if any other vampires show up. When she's still not sure, I groan. Harmony, come on! Where are we going to go? Harmony accompanies us to the parking garage and watches us fill the gas cans. Since she doesn't breathe, she can't really help us. She can warp the cans back into the mall and bring us more to fill until we filled every single container we were able to find. All I have to say is that Mouse better still be making tracks. Yuck! I'll never get that taste of gasoline out of my mouth. Ugh! We go back into the mall and work to connect as many extension cords as we can to the generators. To show Harmony my plan will work, we gas up a generator and plug some stuff in. I fire it up. You should have seen the bright smile on Harmony's face when she sees a few Christmas trees and some lights and a few animatronic displays come to life. Then the big tree and the Santa house lights burst into life. Yes! Harmony breathes like she's a little girl seeing her first Christmas all over again. It takes us some more time, but we get everything we're able to get hooked up, connected. When the generators are all running, Harmony's very happy. At one point, she's kneeling down in front of the very big Christmas tree next to Santa's house. For the record, this tree is not in our mall back home, unless our Harmony put it in just after she banned us all from the mall last weekend. It surprises me that this particular vampire seems more interested in Christmas than in drinking our blood. I mean, you should see how Harmony's eyes are glowing. Not literally glowing, I mean. I don't know. Christmas must hold some special value in her undead heart somewhere. If our Harmony holds Christmas in the same regard, she certainly never showed it the way this one does. It's been so very long, she whispers. It feels like I've waited a lifetime just to experience Christmas Day like this again. She slowly turns to look at me. And many of us died so long ago when we were suddenly turned into vampires. Mona and Bailey slowly approach. Is everything okay? Mona asks. We got all we could started up for you, Harmony, Bailey adds. Sorry we couldn't get it all working. We just didn't have enough generators. Harmony stands up. Now she's crying. Human tears. I heard the ones back home cried blood. Anyway, I never thought vampires were even capable of crying. Of course, I recall meeting my first real vampire last weekend. Harmony puts gentle hands on both Mona and Bailey's shoulders. You gave me enough. Then I have a burning question. Who did this to you? Harmony's still crying softly. I can't say for sure how it all began, but I do know our esteemed mayor was heavily involved. Mayor Patrick Gunter and a few of his converts tried to take my mall, but I drove them out. Before Harmony can finish her story, we hear fluttering noises coming. Harmony hisses in the direction and looks at us. It's Mayor Gunter again. He and his army must know you three are in here, she says. You are my Christmas dinner. Mine! He can't have you. Mona gulps. You're still gonna kill us after what we did for you? Harmony vamps out again, making us shriek, and raises her claws. He can't have you! She snatches up Bailey. You belong to me now. She sounds really crazy. I quickly reach into my pack and slap one of the holy wafers on the back of my hand. Harmony shrieks, causing her to drop Bailey. Then she holds her hand as she falls to her knees and cries again. I hate being this way, she chokes out. I've consumed so many mortals just to satisfy my never-ending hunger. I hate being so hungry all the time. I hate that it drives me to this insanity. I don't want to kill you, but I'm so very hungry. You won't have the chance to satisfy your hunger, Harmony Mirren, a new voice calls out. We all turn and face Mayor Patrick Gunter and his army of the living dead. I think it's safe to say we've never been so scared in all our lives. Mona quickly leans in and whispers that the Blu-ray player is set up and ready. Then Bailey nods to one of the monitors in the food court. The movie Doorway to Horror is playing now. Soon we may be able to return home, but now I'm feeling despair, just like Harmony. Mouse! I choke out. We can't leave her here. We can't, you guys. She's our friend. She's one of us. Bailey nods quickly, but Mona doesn't look so sure. I'm ready to smack her arm and tell her to just grow up. But then she explains her look. If Mouse was going to find her way back here, she would have done it already, right? Mona shakes her head. Those vamps probably got her. Don't you think Mouse would want us to go back? That's why she dropped us off here and sped off herself. Mayor Gunter points right at us. You foolish children think I can't hear what you're saying? You will end that movie immediately. He waves his hand. Two of his vampires bring Mouse out. No! These vampires were the bats chasing us. They did catch up to Mouse. What happened to you? I ask her. Car ran out of gas, she mutters. I said the gas gauge was busted. I was hoping you got away and made it back home by now. Mayor Gunter suddenly grabs Mouse and lifts her up to him. You will stop the movie now, or I satisfy my hunger with this little morsel. Decide. Fast. I quickly raise my hands out in front of me. Okay, stop. We surrender. Perspective. Bailey Downs. Mayor Gunter's still holding Mouse up to him. He arches her neck and is ready to bite her. No way, Mona sneers. I ain't giving myself up for a little rodent. Go ahead and eat her. Look at her, Mayor. Just look at her. There ain't no meat on her bones. She won't have nearly enough blood to satisfy you. She probably don't even have half the blood the rest of us have. Bailey turns to her. What are you doing? Mona ignores her. Don't you see? She's just a troublesome little rodent. She don't belong with us. She never did. So go ahead. Put her out of her misery. Mouse tightens her jaw and glares right at Mona. She doesn't say anything, but if looks could kill, I think this is as close to mad as I've ever seen little Madeline Donnerly get. Then I see the first signs of flickering near the TV and see what looks like a portal starting to form. Mayor Gunter roars with anger. I sent that disc to your universe in hope one of you mortals would find it and bring more food back to us, proving our latest experiment a success. But none of you are returning to your universe. Last time, stop playing the movie or I make a quick snack out of your friend here. Then I'll claim the rest. Take her then, Mona goads him on. Then she tells Mouse, I never did like you. Now I'll finally be rid of you. In fact, why don't you have a drink of this before you become vampire chow? Mona throws Mouse a bottle of water. Then my spirit lifts. Mouse catches the bottle and quickly opens it. She splashes the water in Mayor Gunter's face, which sizzles and burns immediately. Once he drops Mouse, she immediately comes to us. "You really had me going there," Mouse tells Mona. "What?" "Oops, I guess I gave you the wrong bottle," Mona snaps. Yeah, Mona never likes to show how she really feels to Mouse, but Mona's not moving to shove Mouse back to the vampires, so I know she truly meant to save her. I do know my best friend. Mayor Gunter points to all of us. "Kill them!" Then he really vamps out. I mean, if this is a head vampire and he's got an ultimate form, this must be it. He's much bigger now. He looks much uglier. He looks like a scary, bat-like creature, but with clothes on. He turns and focuses on the movie. The portal's not ready yet, but if he destroys the TV or the player, we're never going home. I'm pulling out my holy water and wafers, and am ready to make a last stand. Ariel sees what I'm doing and is joining me. Just as Mona's digging into her pack, Harmony Mirren suddenly flies right onto Mayor Gunter's back. She's clawing with rage at him. Unfortunately, Harmony's just too small and not nearly powerful enough to win against Mayor Gunter. Now he's holding her up by her throat. Winning the office of mayor was so easy, he brags. Bringing this vampire existence to our world was even easier. But destroying you, I'm going to enjoy this. You have been nothing but a thorn in my side, Harmony Mirren. You fought to keep me out of office. You even failed to stop me from conquering this world, and you will fail to save your new friends. But suddenly Harmony's face starts to burn. What gives? Then her mouth practically erupts when she blasts something into his face. Yeah, that's it! Holy water! She must have found our bottles in our packs and she's really trying to help us get home. Mayor Gunter and Harmony both fall. Harmony's face looks just awful, but you should see Mayor Gunter. Harmony got him good. Now the other vampires start coming at us, just as the portal is finally open. Harmony forces herself to her feet now. She looks just hideous. I don't think she's going to heal up from this. She grabs us and turns us to the portal. Get out of here! Go back to your home. You live. What about you? Ariel yells. You'll die if you stay here. I can't come to your universe with you, Harmony tells her, anticipating what Ariel's thinking. I'm so tainted. I've devoured mortals before, and I'll only want to devour your people to satisfy my hunger. I'll stay here and see that you all get home safely. Go! Now! The four of us turn and run to the portal. Harmony's pushing us along. Move! Faster! Closer. Closer. So close. Almost there. When we finally reach the portal, I'm wondering if this is going to truly take us back home, or we'll end up in some other universe. I'll destroy the disc once you're through, Harmony promises us. Thank you for giving me Christmas again. Even if just for a few short minutes. Now, I give you your freedom in return. Merry Christmas. Before we can say anything in the way of thanks, Harmony grabs each of us with her vampire speed and shoves us through the portal. All we see are many flashes of different colored lights, kind of Christmassy, before the four of us will find out if we made it home or not. Perspective, Mona Abels. I gasp and suddenly sit up to see I'm in Ariel's living room. I'm seeing everybody else is awake now too. Bailey gets off her couch and comes to us. Are you guys all right? The rest of us nod quickly. There's enough light in here to tell it's probably morning. In fact, Ariel goes right to the curtains and opens them. Warm light comes in. Then Ariel goes right to Mouse. You weren't turned! Mouse shakes her head quickly. Once they got me, I really thought I'd had it. All I thought about was hoping you guys got home. Yeah, I'm lucky, all right. I'm actually surprised when Ariel pulls Mouse into her arms and hugs her. Then Mouse hugs her back. Eventually, they come apart. I always wondered what Ariel saw in that wicked little rodent. I mean, she totally clashes with the rest of us. She's just a nerd. Seriously, why does Ariel like her so much? Mouse quickly picks up her smartphone. It's almost 10. The rest of us go to our phones. I can see my watch is working right again. Looks like we're really home, you guys, Bailey says. I can even feel how nice and warm it is here compared to when we woke up in that vampire universe. Then Mouse has a thought and checks something. Yup. Looks like both your Blu-ray player and that disc Mona brought are gone, Ariel. She sighs. I really don't care about that right now. Then she looks at her phone. Hey, it's not Christmas like it was there. We're still in the second weekend of December, like before we went to that other universe. Then she puts her phone down and claps her hands together. You guys don't have to come with me, but I'm going out to the mall. But we're banned from there, Mouse reminds her. I don't care, Mouse. I have to know. Mouse shrugs. Okay, but I'm coming with you. Bailey and I decide to tag along too. Like Ariel said, we gotta know. Ariel calls us an Uber and takes us out to Strickfield Town Center Mall. Once we get dropped off, we waste no time going in. It's just like any other December weekend in Strickfield, packed with people and nearly every store filled and open. Our mall only gets like this around November and December. The rest of the year there are many vacancies. People sometimes say the mall's going to close for good eventually, but it never does. Yeah, all the decorations are still up, Ariel says. Looks like we really made it back home, Bailey replies. It's daylight, and we never saw anybody burning up when they were outside. Then Ariel stops us. Hey, let's go into Caffeine Junction for breakfast. My treat. Mouse, I'm going to buy you the biggest coffee they got. Go on in, you guys. I think Ariel's just glad we're back home and we're all safe. True to her word, she lets us order whatever we want. When Bailey and Ariel both got their orders, they head off to a booth. Now it just leaves Mouse and me to wait for our stuff. Mouse kind of gives me a look that says, she ain't sure about me. Just so you know, I wouldn't have really let you die back there, I tell her. I don't know what Ariel sees in you or what Bailey sees in you, but why do you hate me so much, Mona? Mouse asks. I don't hate you, I tell her. I just don't feel like you belong with us. You're just so weird. Maybe to me, you might be the weird one, she says. You ever thought about that? We just look at each other. When Ariel and Bailey ain't looking, I extend my hand. Truce? Mouse shakes my hand. Truce. I lean in and say, you say anything about this, and I'll deny it. Fair enough. When we get our food, we join the others at the booth. Surprisingly, we make it through the whole length of the mall. Just after Ariel's called us another Uber, Harmony Mirren is right there. She points to Ariel and Mouse. Last I checked, you two are banned from my mall. Tell me right now why I shouldn't bring you to my office and have you both arrested. Ariel and Mouse look at each other. Then Ariel digs into her purse and pulls out receipts. She hands them to her and says, because I wanted to treat my girls to some of your fine establishments. We all ended up having a near-death experience, and I just wanted us to celebrate that we're still alive for another Christmas season. This mall has been our hangout place for a long time. You want to call the police? You go right ahead. But we didn't cause any trouble here. Besides, I thought you liked the idea of people spending money at your mall. Harmony's still holding Ariel's receipts and keeps looking sour at us. Finally, she hands back the receipts. Okay, you two can come back, she says. Then she points sharply at them. You're on probation. In other words, if I ever see Cousin Stuart back in here with you again, you're all going to be permanently banned. Do we understand each other? We all quickly tell her we do. Then Harmony nods once. Okay then, but remember, I'll be watching. Like Santa Claus, I'm always watching. Now that we have our arrangement, out of my sight. I guess money really does talk, Ariel says and snickers when we're far enough away from Harmony. That means you ain't bringing Stuart here ever again, Mouse replies. Then I quickly smack Ariel's arm. What was that for? She demands. Look, I tell her. We see Ariel's mom and her aunt together. With Stuart. When they see us, Ariel's mom points right at her. Run, you guys, Ariel yells. Aunt Margaret wants to hand Stuart off to me. We turn and run for all we're worth. Boy, do we ever hear Ariel's mom and aunt yelling at her. We run straight past Harmony Mirren and right out the mall entrance. We could tell she was about to call out to us, but when she sees Ariel's mom and aunt, and Stuart, she starts going off on both of them now. As soon as we're outside, the Uber's right there. We quickly climb in. Go, Ariel orders him. As soon as the driver pulls away, that's when Ariel's mom and aunt are outside. Ariel rolls down her window and waves to them. Have fun with Stuart, you two! Ariel's mom's going to let her have it when they're both home later, but Ariel really doesn't care about that right now. We needed this, you guys, Ariel says. I know it's not quite the day yet, but after everything we've been through, well, Merry Christmas. We don't hesitate and wish her the same. I think this is why I'm glad we have our group. I still don't think Mouse belongs in it, but Ariel wants her around. She's definitely grown on Bailey. I guess I tolerate her because she don't cause trouble. To be fair, she did risk her life for us, both on Halloween night and last night. In light of that, I'll keep the truce with Mouse. Like I said, I'll deny it if she says anything about it. Besides, Ariel's right. We've all been through the absolute most horrifying experience together to date. I can tell you one thing. It'll be one sleepover none of us will ever forget. But Ariel's right. At least we have another Christmas. Deep down, I'm hoping the Harmony Mirren of that other universe succeeded in destroying that disc. Because if she didn't, no, I don't even want to think about that. It's going to be Christmas soon. Speaking of soon, that's when you'll see us again, and with a new adventure. In the meantime, Merry Christmas!
Love Conquers All by Joe Salmo. Brian, put your dick back in your pants, Derek said as the two stood alone under the stars. The acres of alfalfa surrounded them on Derek's dad's farm. We got some drinking to do, he finished and put his hand on Brian's shoulder. Brian, having emptied his bladder, quickly zipped up and followed Derek back to the little campfire they had in a small clearing in the fields where their friends, and more importantly, their dates, waited. Somehow he managed to get a date with Chelsea Hammer, and he was fully aware of her reputation, although it's been a few hours and she didn't seem all that promiscuous to him. Chad slammed a can of piss-warm beer into his chest as he cleared through the oats and alfalfa plants surrounding them. He smiled when Brian doubled over. "Thanks, asshole," Brian said through clenched teeth. He looked over at Chelsea to see she had noticed. She rolled her eyes at him. Great. Just great. "Becca, you need another beer?" Chad asked, and before she could answer, he tossed her one. She missed it and it landed on the fertile soil next to her. "Too slow, really bad reflexes," Chad said and laughed loudly. "Chad, maybe you should cool it, eh?" Derek said. "I'm usually the asshole here, and if I notice you are, how big of an asshole does that make you? Mind your own business, Dare. I noticed that you're the only one that didn't bring no pussy to bang." Chad said in a slur. Becca said in disgust. She stood up and crossed her arms. I want to go home. Oh, come on, babe. I didn't mean anything by it, Chad said and stumbled over to her, trying to plant a kiss on her cheek. She avoided the contact and Chad fell down on his face, crushing the smaller alfalfa plants mixed with the oats. Chelsea, are you going to suck my dick tonight or what? Brian asked her flat out. She had to know that's why he invited her out to Derek's family farm. What? Absolutely not, Chelsea said, offended, and stood up. She grabbed the towel she had been sitting on that the boys provided them and covered her shoulders from the cold fall air. Come on, Becca, I'll drive you home. This was a waste of time. Come back, Chad called out after them, but they disappeared into the field in the night. Man, what we need is girls that'll do what we want, Chad said. That's slavery, jackass, Derek said, pouring his piss-warm beer on the fire pit to put it out. Come on, night's over. Come on, man, it's early yet. Not even like midnight, Chad complained. I don't really feel like partying anymore. This night sucked, Brian chimed in. Derek picked up the plastic handle on the cooler without ice, and started to drag it down the path to the side road they'd made in his father's field so they could party out there, undisturbed. I brought the cooler. Why did I have to bring the ice too? Don't let those bitches ruin our night, man. It's their loss anyway. You know what I'm packing in here? Chad asked, grabbing his groin. Bitch probably would have choked anyway. From the stench? When's the last time you showered, man? You look like shit anyway, Derek retorted as they reached the road. All three of them watched as the girls drove off in Chelsea's dad's Dodge Ram. Chad flipped them off. I knew I should have insisted that I drove. Then she wouldn't have been able to leave, Chad said. To what end? Like, seriously, Brian said, unlocking the Corolla his parents got him for graduating last year. They told him he could use it to drive to college. They were so proud of him. All he'd done since was get drunk in fields and try to get laid. He wondered if they were still proud. He wasn't sure. Well, if they stayed with us and got to know us, Chad began. Let me cut you off there, Chad. The longer they were with us, the more they would have disliked us. There ain't nothing to like about us. Can't you see that? There ain't no girls around here that would give us the time of day, Derek said. Now go home so I can crawl into bed and rub one out before I pass out. What are we supposed to do then? Go into the city and get hookers and catch one of those veterinary diseases? Chad asked. Maybe we just conjure one up, Brian joked and shivered in the chill of the early November night air. Yeah, we can just dress a scarecrow up in women's clothes and take turns fucking her hay pussy, Chad said. Somehow it seems less demeaning than getting rejected by real girls all the time, Brian said. My dad catches us fucking one of his scarecrows and he'll beat my ass again, Derek shouted at them. Again? Chad and Brian asked at the same time. Well, not for the same thing, Derek replied. Sure, Chad said. But you might be onto something. I think they built a woman in that movie from the 80s. Why couldn't we do that? We don't have a computer, asshole, Brian chimed in as he got everything packed into the car. Can we go now? They got one down at the library. I can ask old Pete about it. He's the smartest person I know. If anyone would know how to do it, it'd be him, Chad said in a eureka moment. Brian dismissed him and climbed into the car. Let's go! The next night, 2 a.m, 0 hour. Time to finish and go to sleep, Derek thought as he held his phone in one hand and his dick in the other. He only dropped it twice on his face this time. They should make a headband that holds your phone for when you're watching porn, he thought, just as he finished into a dirty sock. He used the outside to wipe himself off a bit and tossed it onto the floor of his dirty room in a satisfied sigh. It only felt like a few seconds before there was a weird sound from outside. Perplexed, Derek rose out of bed and threw on a pair of sweatpants the dirty sock had landed on, ignoring the cold, wet spot. He made his way to a window looking towards the seemingly endless fields his dad maintained. "What the fuck?" he whispered and opened his window. Chad and Brian were standing there. Behind them was a wheelbarrow. And was that someone in it? He couldn't quite make it out in the dark. "What are you guys doing here?" Derek asked in an angry whisper. "Waiting for you to finish," Chad replied. "Took you long enough. How's your nose?" "You were watching me? Never mind. What do you want?" Derek asked. "Meet us out in the field. We'll explain it all," Chad said with a smile and grabbed the wooden handles on the wheelbarrow and took off into the field, leaving an obvious trail. This was why we always went in from the road. Plausible deniability, Derek thought as his gaze went from a bewildered Brian to his room as he looked around for some clothes to wear. "You gonna follow him?" "In a second. I gotta shit. Mind if I come in?" Brian asked. "Don't wake my folks and hurry up." They met Chad in the clearing, waiting for them. He had a bunch of weird stuff laid out around them. "What's all this?" Derek asked. "We gonna get laid tonight," Chad said. Brian agreed. Derek realized he could see his breath in the cold air and wished he'd brought a thicker jacket. The plants were going to die tonight in the frost. He watched as Chad kept checking his phone and looking around the clearing, like he was reading a recipe and making sure he had all the parts. He placed a single rose to the left of the wheelbarrow and a Black Swan DVD to the right. "You want to explain how?" Derek asked. Chad went to see old Pete at the library and he explained it all to him, apparently. They looked up the particulars online, but the printer was broke, so Chad had to type it all into his phone. "Remember how that girl from Milford broke his camera when he tried to get a pic of her peeing over there?" Brian explained as he pointed to the part of the field they all used to piss on nights like this. "Yeah, I remember, Stacy or something like that," Derek said. "Stacia. Anyway, he got it all down and now we can do it," Brian said excitedly. "Do what exactly?" he asked. "Have a woman that'll want to have sex with us all the time," Chad chimed in. "You see, it's real simple. Old Pete said that what you need to do is summon something that likes to have sex and whammo, there you go." "You mean like a succubus?" Derek asked. "Oh no, Pete said that would be a mistake. He's done that before and it didn't end well at all. Did you know old Pete is only 32 years old? He looks 70. He said it was from a night with a succubus. He said to summon something nicer like a love goddess," Chad said. "And how do we do that?" Derek asked, getting annoyed at Chad. "Well, we looked into it and found this old Greek book about their mythology and shit. It had these rituals where you would offer things to the gods and they would come and accept the gifts. Old Pete says all the gods are real. They pop into reality as long as one person believes in them." Chad finished as he removed the body from the wheelbarrow and placed it into the center of the figure he had drawn in the soil around them. "What is that?" Derek asked. "A vessel," Brian explained. "Like a ship?" "No, like a host. The gods can't come to our world without a body to inhabit. I took one of your dad's old scarecrows from the cornfield over there," Chad said, pointing off into the distance. "Guess we will be fucking a scarecrow after all," Brian said and laughed. "You don't believe any of this shit, do you?" Derek asked him. Brian always seemed like the most level-headed of them. "If it works, great. If not, I had no better plans tonight anyway," his friend explained with a hint of sadness. "And you're basing this all on what some old librarian told you?" Derek asked them. "Oh, Pete isn't a librarian. He lives behind the library, in the alley," Chad clarified. "Sometimes he'll tell you about his crazy adventures for a 40. "Crazy is right," Derek said. "What do I have to do? So this can fail and I can go back to bed." "I knew you'd be into it," Chad said and handed him a grocery bag full of fall-colored leaves. He pointed at the scarecrow. "What am I doing with this?" Derek wondered out loud. Stuff its bra, man. We want to give her big old titties, don't we? Chad said. Derek looked at Brian for a hint of reason to this night, but he just nodded his agreement, then made hand gestures of how big he would suggest. Shaking his head, Derek went over to the scarecrow and began to stuff its shirt. Is this makeup? Where did you get makeup to put on my father's scarecrow? Your mom's room, Chad said and laughed. Brian laughed too. Even Derek grinned a little bit at the lame your mom joke. Okay, I think everything is where old Pete told me to set it up. All I gotta do is read the passage and we should summon a love goddess to pleasure us, Chad explained. Remember to read it exactly as you wrote it down. Old Pete said that was the most important part. If we screw it up, we don't know what could happen, Brian said, adjusting the scarecrow a little bit to the left. I got it, Chad said. It's only a few sentences. I think I can handle it. From the depths of the other planes, from the space beyond mortal men, we call you forth with these gifts, symbols of your power and prowess. We bring you forth, mother of love, passion, and beauty. We ask that you bestow your attributes on us. With this, a slight pause, as Chad giggled. This alfalfa is scratchy, Brian said, pulling his leg away from the dying plant. In fact, all the plants around them were dying. It looks like a pale light was draining from them into the scarecrow. Come forth, alfalfa deity, Chad called out. A distant boom was heard, and Chad turned towards his friends. Shit. What did I just say? You fucked up the name, you idiot, Brian said. I meant Aphrodite. You're the one who mentioned alfalfa. So, what happens now? Brian asked. Think we're about to find out, Derek answered, as the scarecrow started to twitch on the ground. The face, a pumpkin with his mother's makeup on it, turned towards him. Its drawn-on mouth somehow became animated and opened into a womanly scream. They all backed up to the edge of the clearing as they watched the thing stand up awkwardly. The hay wound its way through the sleeves and formed arms and hands, slender, delicate hands, the hands of a woman. The round pumpkin turned its head toward Chad. A wicked smile crossed its painted-on facial features. A tongue licked around the lipstick that formed its mouth. It looked Chad up and down as it stepped towards him, seductively. Guys, I think it worked. Maybe not exactly as we planned it. He paused as he looked at the scarecrow love goddess approach him. I think we can make this work. Yeah, I got half a chub, Brian admitted and smiled nervously. You guys are fucking insane, Derek said. This thing is not what you told me it was going to be. I want no part of this. To be fair, you didn't want part of it before, Chad said as it approached him. It reached out a slender arm towards his waist, pointing its haystack-wrapped finger. Oh yeah, baby, I know what you want, Chad said, and unzipped his pants. He pulled out what he always bragged to them was a fine example of USDA grade A man meat, but was in reality a micro-penis. You would think it would take the scarecrow love goddess some talent to find it in the cold night, but it didn't. It didn't take it long at all to shoot a haystack straight up the hole in the micro-penis, and it must have pushed some air out of him elsewhere as he simultaneously farted and screamed, the latter being louder, but not by much. She's penetrating his piss hole, Brian said and tried to cross his legs while standing, which made him fall to the ground. That's some kinky shit I ain't into. Nobody's into that, Derek said and panicked. He definitely didn't want that for him. He grabbed the first thing he could find and charged toward the hay goddess of penis penetration. With a war cry that would make Vikings proud, he swung the object and struck it on the back. It had little to no effect, other than to get her attention. It was a boring movie anyway, he said and tossed the DVD to the ground. A rope of hay slipped from her other hand and wrapped around his throat, choking him. You brought me here into existence to play. Let's play, the creature said in a seductive tone. I'm going to have to admit that voice is bringing back my chub, Brian said, getting to his feet. If I see old Pete again, I'm going to punch that coot in the face, Chad said, pulling his hands away from his bloody groin. The distraction had made the goddess unpenetrate him. He panicked for a second, thinking she had ripped off what he had. But he sighed when he realized it was still there, just with a wider hole. Derek hobbled towards the goddess, who was holding Derek by the throat while digging in his jeans for something. Fuck this, I'm out of here, Brian said and turned to leave. But, with her free hand, a tentacle made of straw shot towards Brian, ripping a hole into the back of his Walmart jeans. He screamed out, wishing he had paid the extra for Levi's. They probably would have held up better. Either way, he didn't have to worry much longer as the straw tentacle made its exit through all the holes in his body at the same time, impressively impaling his eyeballs that twitched in the pale moonlight. It killed Brian. I would have bet he would be the one of us to survive something like this, Chad said, and stabbed his pocket knife into the pumpkin-headed hell bitch. She screamed out as pumpkin seed and pulp sprayed over Chad's face. It dropped Derek to the ground, who coughed and gasped for air. Oh shit, Chad said, backing away from it, grasping his micro-penis with two hands protectively. She circled him like a corn carnivore hunting its prey. He closed his eyes and fought back tears. All he wanted to do was get laid. He didn't want any of this shit. He felt the stalk touching his leg and working its way up him with a gentle touch. A womanly touch. You don't want to play with me anymore? The seductive voice asked, playfully. No, please, just go back. We didn't know what we were doing, Chad cried out as it circled behind him. Have you no desire to win my heart anymore? You created me in the ritual. You gave me a name, and therefore power. I was nothing until you named me Alfalfa Deity. What did you expect? A love goddess? You created me by mistake. I am a mistake. You wanted me to do whatever your heart desired, and now you have no desire for my heart. Chad whimpered. Derek stood up, leaning on the wheelbarrow, and looked at his friend. This can't be real. He's either having the weirdest wet dream of his life, or he took a ton of great drugs without knowing it. He rubbed his neck and cleared his throat. You don't want my heart. I refuse yours. The monster sent a straw tentacle through Chad's chest from behind, impaling his heart and shooting it out his chest towards his friend. The heart landed in Derek's hand as he was removing it from his throat. He shrieked when he realized what it was and dropped it to the ground, next to a can of hairspray that must have been part of the ritual. He grabbed for the can as his friend's lifeless body hit the cold earth just feet in front of him. Derek got to his knees and reached into his pocket, pulling out his bowl and lighter. He tossed the bowl down and faced the creature as it approached him in that sexy walk with stalks for heels. I don't want nothing from you, Derek called out. Leave me be! Derek, it was part of you that summoned me here. We have the strongest bond, she said as she pointed to a familiar object on the ground. His spank sock. God damn it, Brian. Take a shit my ass. He stole my spank sock. He raised the can of hairspray and held it up to his lighter. With a flick and a press, a fireball shot into the face of the scarecrow fuck buddy gone wrong and sent it reeling back with a scream. He stepped forward over the spank sock and sent another fireball into the scarecrow, this time aiming it at its flammable shirt and straw instead of its pumpkin face. Stop, the voluptuous voice called out to him. You don't understand. I had to get rid of them so that we could be alone. It was your magic that summoned me, she said, looking at the sock and trying to brush out the straw that was on fire. Magic? Derek asked, watching her every move. Years of your reproductive magic. The potency. It's very strong magic, she said, taking a step towards him. He noticed her leaves had burned away. No more breasts for her. No, this can't be. I don't want this. Chad did, Derek said. Do not reject me again, she said, and wrapped his leg with straw, pulling him to the ground. She mounted him. I will not be as gentle next time. Derek managed to get the can and lighter between the two of them and let loose with another blast, this one point blank. He felt the heat probably just as much as she did and screamed to match hers. He continued as long as he could until she got up from him. He rubbed his chest where he had been burned himself and found his shirt burned into his flesh. The creature wasn't doing much better as it ran around, now engulfed in flames. He ran towards it and planted the can of hairspray in its flat chest, burning his hand in the process, and backed away, wrapping his burned-up hand in his spank sock. Don't leave me. I was created so we would be together, she called to him, wrapping him in her smoldering straw tentacles. He turned to face her, a tear running down his cheek. He was going to die. There was no escape. Just then, the can of hairspray exploded, sending the torso flying in all directions. The pumpkin head fell to the ground, cracking open and spilling the insides onto the ground. The tentacles fell away from Derek, and he dropped to his knees, looking at the carnage. He heard something coming through the field towards him. Oh God! Could this be another one? How many more are there, he thought. A second later, his father entered the clearing with a shotgun in his hand. God damn it, Derek! I thought there was some hooligans out here fucking around. It's just you banging another scarecrow. I am gonna whoop your ass. Did you use your mother's makeup on that thing? Derek closed his eyes, wishing the thing had finished him off, like it did his friends.
Newborn by Rob Fields. You feel like you've slept for the longest time. You're starting to move a little as you yawn and open your eyes. Then you sit up and see it's dark around you. Funny enough, in spite of the darkness, you can see everything perfectly. Through your disorientation, you determine it must be a full moon tonight, and don't bother looking outside. Then it starts coming back to you. The night before. You smile a little at how your friend, Wendy Chappell, brought you to an underground college party. You don't even go to Strickfield University, yet your BFF was able to get you both invited. You never asked her how, but you were really grateful. You just wanted somewhere where you could show off the new green dress that fits your shapely body. You even bought a new pair of platform sandals to go with it. You smile even more as you remember you drank quite a bit as you danced non-stop to the loud house music. You remember feeling so drunk that it was liberating. That was when that handsome boy approached you and tore up the dance floor alongside you. You certainly did a lot of bumping and grinding, something you never could have done at Strickfield High School dances. No, not with Principal Matthew Van Diest looking to give you hell if you were caught. You remember the boy brought you to this very room and to this very bed. You remember the two of you had some incredible sex. You told your boy that you never wanted this night to end. You wished that the night would just last forever. Eventually, you finally succumbed to exhaustion and fell asleep. Now you're awake after sleeping who knows how long. You can't even find your smartphone or a clock. You look down to see if you can find your new sandals. You groan in frustration when you can't even find your purse. You decide to just go on home and see what's going on. What else can you do without much of anything, right? You walk downstairs and out into the night. As you look around and see it's really A deserted house. On a deserted township road. You begin to wonder if a college party really took place here. As more of your disorientation clears, you remember everything that happened in every room as you walk out to the road. You recognize the road immediately and know you're going to have to walk a good 2 to 3 miles to get back to your house in the village. Feeling really good about yourself, you walk the road wearing just that form-fitting green dress. It's then when you finally see the moon and realize it's a new moon. Yet you can see in the dark just perfectly. Eventually you reach your house and see the lights are out. You figure it must be late and know your parents and your baby sister are sleeping soundly. Fortunately for you, you know where the spare key to the back door is. You find it, open the screen door, and unlock the inner door. Well, that was easy enough. After replacing the key, you enter the house. Or at least, you try to. The door is wide open, but you just can't walk inside. It's as though some invisible force is preventing you from entering the house. You can't even reach inside to pull the back door shut again. You even try to run inside only to be knocked down on your sexy ass. As you're wondering just what the hell is going on, you see your little sister standing there with a cup in her hand. The little girl couldn't sleep because she'd gotten thirsty. "Will you come in here and give me some water, Eliza?" she asks you. You get back to your feet and feel for the invisible barrier again, but it's no longer there. You can enter your house freely again. You take your sister's cup and get her much-needed cold water. You watch Clara drink her fill before you top her off and walk her back upstairs to her bedroom. After you put Clara back in bed, you decide to go into your own room. You sit down at your computer and wake it up. After entering your password, you check your messages. Wendy Chappell messaged you on Facebook and told you she has your missing items. She said you were so out of it and couldn't be woken up, that she took your stuff so no one would steal it. What would you do without Wendy? You type your reply and get one back almost immediately. You remember Wendy's just as much of a night owl as you. Aside from the college parties she scores invites to, how many late hours did you both spend at Denoyer's Grill? Wendy tells you to come on over. After you finish chatting with Wendy, you find that letter you got a few months ago and read it again. This very letter that was written on age-old paper, changed your life once you found out everything it said, was true. It was because of this letter that you stopped caring about everyday things and focused more on the nightlife. It was as if this letter had found its way to you at just the right time. You hide the letter again and go to get another pair of shoes out of your closet. Upon opening the door, you gasp. You see the full-length mirror inside your door, but it's what you're not seeing that's really got you horrified. Your reflection. You gaze deep into your mirror, even though you can still see in the dark perfectly. You go and turn on your light on impulse. Then you return to look in the mirror again. Still nothing. All you can see are whatever parts of your bedroom are reflecting in the mirror. But you can't see yourself whatsoever. Not even your sexy green dress appears in the mirror. You're starting to think maybe you're having a wicked hangover. You did drink plenty of mixed drinks that tasted so fruity. You also saw some other partiers vaping and getting high. Maybe you vaped with them and just don't remember. You shake your head. No, you feel just fine. In fact, better than fine. But now you're starting to feel hungry. You turn off the computer and the light before leaving your bedroom. You make your way downstairs to the refrigerator and open it to see some yummy leftovers. Good old mom. You pick up a fried chicken leg and tear into it. You only chew a couple of times before you quickly open the trash can and spit it out. You sniff the fried chicken. It smells divine. Somehow it's the most horrible thing you've ever eaten. You throw it away and grab some cheese. Again, you spit it in the trash. You're frustrated now and grab the bottle of red wine inside the door. You open it and drink it. It doesn't taste too bad. In fact, you're finishing the remaining half of the bottle. Might as well go to Wendy's with a little buzz going, right? However, you're really not feeling anything of the sort. Suddenly, the light comes on. You turn and see your father, who seems very annoyed with you. "What are we going to do with you, Elizabeth?" he demands. "You stay out all hours of the night. You don't care about school anymore. What are you planning to do with your life? Drink and party all night?" He sees the empty wine bottle in your hand. "Looks like you're off to a good start." Then he points right at you. "I don't know what's gotten into you. You used to be such a good kid. Now your mother and I don't even know you anymore." The more your father continues to yell at you, the more you become angry. You love your new party lifestyle. You love the nightlife. You've never been more free in your entire life, and now your father wants to take all that away from you. At the same time, you're feeling so incredibly hungry. Suddenly you roar as you snatch up your father and sink your long fangs into the side of his neck. He cries out as your mouth fills with his blood. It's absolutely the most delicious thing you've ever tasted. When your father falls to the floor, you quickly get on top of him and drink from him again. You hold his arms down to keep him from fighting you off. You savor every gulp as you keep drinking until you finally drained him dry. You sit up and lick your lips. You know your face is a mess. Dad's blood was so delicious, in fact, you wouldn't mind having some more. Then you remember your mother and Clara are still upstairs. Without a second thought, you stand up and make your way upstairs. You walk back out into the night after cleaning yourself up. Fortunately, you didn't get any blood on your green dress. You still haven't changed out of it. Why should you? This dress got you lots of attention. It even got you laid. Now you just need to go to Wendy's place and get the rest of your stuff. Knowing Wendy, she'll likely want you to stay and hang out with her. You have to cross Village Cemetery in order to get to Wendy's apartment on the other side. Remembering you're now, apparently, a vampire, you easily jump over the wall and land on the soft grass on the other side. You begin your walk through the foggy tombstones. The wet grass feels wonderful on your still bare feet. Just the same, you can't wait to reclaim your things from Wendy, including your platform sandals. Suddenly you feel something very sharp hit your shoulder. You cry out in both surprise and pain when you see whatever it was that struck you makes you bleed. You look over your shoulder and see 3 male figures coming at you. They've all got crossbows and other mean weaponry. "The vampire's over here!" you hear one of them yell. "I grazed her with my stake!" Knowing they mean to kill you, you run. Even though you have great night vision, it's still hard for you to run barefoot on wet grass. Soon you make it to a big tree and hide behind it. You can easily hear them talking about how to kill you. You realize maybe jumping over the cemetery wall wasn't such a hot idea after all. On impulse, you start catching your breath. Actually, what breath? You remember you're undead now and don't breathe. You hear your pursuers almost upon you and run for it. Even though you're a vampire, you still feel scared. You've already died once. You don't want to die a second time and end up staying dead, never knowing the nightlife again. You know you're strong and powerful, but you don't know what powers you have or how to tap into them. "Over here! She's getting away!" one of them yells to his friends. "Stake that fucking bitch!" another one cries. You've heard stories about ghosts, werewolves, ghouls, and other things that prowl the night from different girls when you were invited to sleepovers. Even Wendy Chapel had stories to share, including ones about vigilantes who hunted the night creatures like you. She also shared a story about a unique master vampire who hunted and destroyed your kind. That same master vampire also walks in the daylight. You cry out in pain as you feel a stake in your upper right shoulder. You're able to grasp the pointy end and yank it clean out. You're royally pissed off as you turn to face your pursuers. You throw the stake right at them, making them hit the grass. "Leave me alone!" you scream. You turn and run again. This time, you reach the blacktop and can put some distance in between you and the vigilantes. You reach the opposite wall and jump over it. Those bastards won't catch you in a hurry now. You can also see your wounds are completely healed. Unfortunately, your new favorite dress couldn't do the same thing. "Shit," you mutter. You finally make it to Wendy Chapel's apartment at Strickfield Cove. As you're about to ring her doorbell, it opens. "Hey, baby," Wendy cheers, so happy to see you again. You and Wendy share a brief hug before she invites you inside. Then you remember from earlier that you needed to be invited. At least that part's out of the way. Wendy sees your damaged dress. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. You really loved that dress." You're ready to tell her about those vampire hunting vigilantes who were hunting you, but you stop when you realize Wendy doesn't know. You don't want her to be terrified of you and revoke her invitation. Wendy takes your hand. "Come on, let's get you cleaned up and something else to wear." You let Wendy bring you to her bathroom. "Go ahead and take a shower. I'll get you something to put on." She watches you undress. She's seen you naked before, so you don't think anything of it. You hand her the tatters of your dress and walk to the shower. Wendy sees you standing naked in her bedroom doorway. She hands you a bright red dress that almost resembles that beautiful green one you lost. The dress fits you perfectly. "Keep it," Wendy tells you. "Thanks, babe," you say. Wendy points to her nightstand where the rest of your things are. You thank her for keeping them safe. Even your smartphone is working just fine, especially since Wendy charged it just for you. Wendy asks you to sit on the bed with her. "Do you remember anything, Eliza?" You tell her what you remember about your involvement with the college party at that house just outside the village. You add how you woke up in that house just a few hours ago, then check your phone again. 2 days? You look at Wendy. "I've been at that house for 2 days?" "Well, you were pretty drunk," Wendy reminds you. "Those drinks those college guys made were high octane. You were chugging them like they were water." You remember something else. "I got laid." "You sure did," Wendy confirms. You don't know what else you can confide in Wendy about. The only other thing you can remember is that you fell asleep with that hot guy you'd had sex with. When you woke up, you were all alone in that house. "Can you remember anything else?" Wendy asks. "I don't think so," you lie, not wanting to tell her you were also sired by a vampire. But then you gasp when you're both looking into the full-length mirror in her walk-in closet. Neither of you are casting a reflection. You look at Wendy and see her fangs and red eyes. "Wendy?" you utter. "You're just like me now, babe," she purrs. "I heard you tell our master you didn't want the nightlife to ever end. Now it won't. We can party for the rest of eternity." "Wendy, I have to know," you say. "Did you turn me?" She shakes her head. "Our master sired you. I begged him to sire you so we could continue to party together. We don't ever have to be alone again, Eliza." "Master?" you ask. Then you both hear the doorbell. That's him, Wendy says. Put your shoes on. You obey Wendy and then you both answer the door. You see the boy you had sex with at the party, who sired you. He's got another girl on his arm. Good evening, master, Wendy purrs. She turns to you. Eliza, this is Abergast. She points to the other girl. And this is Eleni, his first bride. You watch Arbogast kiss Eleni, and then Wendy. You hesitate when he wants to kiss you, but you let him anyway. Then Eleni tells you, Dracula had 3 brides. Arbogast is our master, and we're his 3 brides. Welcome to our family, love. You wanted so much to be a part of this wonderful nightlife that Wendy introduced you to. You loved all the parties and the sinful pleasures, but now you're wondering if you've maybe gotten way in over your head. Wasn't it supposed to be about dancing, drinking, doing some drugs, and enjoying lots of sex? It was supposed to be about total freedom. That's what Wendy first told you that sold you on the nightlife. She never said anything about you becoming one of the undead or being involved in a kinky foursome relationship. Wendy takes your hand. Babe, lighten up. I know you've got lots of questions. It's okay. The nightlife belongs to us for as long as we want. We play by our own rules. I get maybe you're a little scared, but we'll teach you. You're gonna love your new life. I promise. The more you see the others mingling with each other, the more you're thinking maybe this might not be so bad. So you decide to go along with them. At least, for now. The 4 of you have been making the scene at many underground clubs and parties. You meet other vampires along the way. You've learned so much from your foursome during your time with them. You can't be out during the daytime anymore, and you have to sleep in a coffin lined with your native soil inside. You even have to get hot and sexy with the others from time to time. However, you get to keep experiencing the nightlife. What's more, you get to stay young and beautiful. Forever. Arbogast brings all of you to an underground club in Strickfield's abandoned rail yards called The Club After Midnight. Arbogast brought all of you here to celebrate your being a vampire for a full year. He has taken great care of all 3 of you. He's always given you 3 brides, the best of everything. All well and good as long as you finally get your heart's desire. You don't think about that at the moment as Arbogast brings the 3 of you into a special room he's reserved just for your party. There are 2 mortals secured over your table. Since being sired, you have no reservations about drinking from mortals. After all, that's the single most important thing that keeps the nightlife going for you and the others. Arbogast wraps his arms around you. You get the first drink, Eliza. I already gave these parties to Eleni and Wendy when they reached their first years. This is all for you tonight. You share a kiss with him before you smile at the delicious meal your master has placed before you. You leave his side and move to the boy. The girl screams for you to leave him alone, but you've become so wicked and cold towards your former race that you relish in their suffering. The girl's screams are music to your ears as you sink your fangs into her boyfriend and drink. His blood tastes delicious. You feel your body come to life more as you feed. You still miss eating cheeseburgers from Denoyer's Grill sometimes, but the blood is the life. After you finish with the boyfriend, you invite the others to enjoy what you didn't take. Now you have the girlfriend, all to yourself. You give her an evil, bloody smile as you peck her lips before you savor the taste of her blood. You drink her very slowly to prolong her suffering. Even though you hate being one of Arbogast's brides, he's really made you appreciate the nightlife that much more. You have a much stronger bond with Wendy. You even get along with Eleni. You don't ever have to follow mortal society's rules ever again. You never have to care what kind of lies your former mortal government will tell you. You are truly free of those mortal bonds. You find yourself wishing you had received that letter much sooner. Better late than never, right? You finish drinking the girl when she finally dies. Again, you let the others have what's left. You lick your lips and fangs in satisfaction. Arbogast has educated you so much during your first year. He's taught you everything you need to know. All you have to do is watch for hunters who are looking to end you. You especially need to be on your guard when it comes to the greatest threat to your people, Bella Tabon. You especially hate her because she can walk in the daylight, and you can't. She also has none of your weaknesses. She's the one vampire who is truly free. You share kisses with your family as they honor you more for surviving your first year. Then you return to the dance floor and shake your body to the music with Wendy as Arbogast has some alone time with Eleni. As you bump and grind with Wendy, you allow yourself to be taken in by her charm again. How many times have you been intimate with just Wendy? How many times has she been there for you? You and Wendy dance the night away, sharing kisses with each other. Eventually, Arbogast and Eleni return for the two of you. It's getting to be that hour when the club after midnight is ready to close. It's going to be dawn in a little while. The four of you leave and return to your humble little abode at Strickfield Cove. The four of you enter the apartment. You make sure the door is locked tight. Then all of you make your way to your coffins to lay down and sleep the day away. As you lay in your coffin, you're being patient. You're about to execute the first stage of your plan very shortly. You've been planning for a very long time, calculating everything with each step you'll take. And now the time has finally come. You know you've got more than enough time to do what you need to do. You open your coffin and come back out. You easily move along the floor in your bare feet and pull down the special ultraviolet shade over the window you secretly installed. The curtains give all of you enough protection from the sunlight, but you're not taking any chances. You go to the one other bedroom and pull down the ultraviolet shade there too. You find the bottle you stashed in the back of the closet and get naked. You start rubbing the contents of the bottle all over your body, making sure you don't miss a single spot. You even wet your hair with the liquid. When you've finished, you put your dress back on. Now that you're fully ready, you drop and pull out the small bag containing a stake, a hammer, and a very sharp hacksaw. You open the first coffin in front of you and see Arbogast, your master, sleeping soundly. You smile coldly and waste no time in hammering the stake through Arbogast's heart, freeing you from both his control and influence. He opens his eyes just enough to see the face of his betrayer. He tries to reach up for you, but you've weakened him severely. He gives you that look as if asking you for a reason for your betrayal as you bring the hacksaw down to cut off his head. Once you've severed it completely, Arbogast's body begins disintegrating and turning to ash. Next, you move to Eleni's coffin and open it. You've already got your next tools ready to go. It's true that Eleni has always treated you with kindness. For some reason, though, you've harbored so much hatred for her. Was it because she liked to wear your clothes without asking? Was it because she was Arbogast's favorite out of the three of you? Was it perhaps because she was just too nice to all of you for her own good? No. It's because you are truly an evil being. You've allowed your hatred to soothe you. You've allowed it to guide you. You relish your hatred. You feel it seemingly energize your blood. You've never felt so excited as you open Elnie's mouth and use a glove to stick a big bulb of holy water-soaked garlic in her mouth and tape it shut. As she screams her muffled screams, you open 2 big jugs of holy water and pour them all over her. Her body bursts into flames easily. You quickly close the coffin lid and hold it down to keep her from getting out. You smile with such evil until you no longer feel Eleni fighting inside. You open the lid back up and see where the flesh burned away. Her head is still on fire from the garlic. You take the stake and put an end to Eleni once and for all. You even chop off what's left of her burning head just to make sure. 1 to go. You get to your feet and creep out into the hallway. You lick your fangs when you can practically taste Wendy's impending death. You can't wait to finally destroy Wendy and be on your own. But didn't Wendy help nurture you after you were sired? Didn't she always keep you company so you'd never be lonely? Remember, she was the one who introduced you to the nightlife you'd come to love and relish so much. So fucking what? You've grown so evil over your first year as a vampire that your hatred has made you lust for Wendy's death as well. You want ultimate power. You'll ultimately get it with each year that you continue to be a vampire. You'll have to live a great many years to become a master vampire and gain that ultimate power. You read that in your studies. You even know your true family legacy. Your name is Elizabeth Gillian. You're the last descendant of the most powerful master vampire there ever was. Was as in the past tense. That was until Thornton Gillian finally met his end at the hands of Bella Tabon back in 1888. Thornton's powerful blood had mixed with Bella's pure Tabon blood and transformed her into the ultimate master vampire. You want ultimate power like Tabon's. Thanks to Thornton leaving you his vast fortune and the artifacts of vast magics he had collected over the years, you can truly become a powerful vampire. Meeting Arbogast wasn't just a case of you being a dumb bitch who wanted to party and get laid. You had planned this, every single bit of it. Except now, your plan has taken a slight detour. You're now looking right at Wendy, who's out of her coffin and looks very angry. She knows what you've done. She knows what you intend to do to her. Why? She demands. We were a family, Eliza. I went along with your fucking shit for a full year, you explain. Now I have my first real powers. I've cemented my roots as a vampire. Newborns can be returned to mortal if their sire is killed within that first year. I read all about it. Today was the day I became a full-fledged vampire. And now I claim my freedom to continue my true family's legacy. You could have just left, Wendy yells. You shake your head slowly. Arbogast would never have let me go. So I took my freedom. I killed him and his prized Eleni. And now I'm going to kill you. I never did anything to you, Wendy protests. You were my best friend. I loved you. You smirk coldly. You know, maybe if you had sired me, not Arbogast, you, maybe I would have been loyal to you. Maybe I would have learned to love you. To be honest, having sex with you was a great tension reliever. You tighten your fists. But I fucking hated having sex with all of you. Still, I did what I had to do to make it to my first full year. Now, it's on to claiming ultimate power. Once I destroy you, then I'll bide my time and build my power. One day I'll finally be powerful enough to destroy Bella Tabon for killing every vampire in my bloodline. And all it took was receiving that ancient letter from my ancestor, Thornton Gillian, to set me on my destiny. Wendy vamps out and extends her claws. I'll kill you for what you've done to Arbogast and Eleni. You both circle each other until you stop right by the window. I think you're forgetting just one teensy-weensy little thing, Wendy, dearest. Before she can react, you quickly throw open the drapes and yank the ultraviolet screen away. Sunlight fills the entire living room. Wendy has nowhere to run. Technically, neither do you. However, using that special sunblock potion you made from one of Thornton's magic books has made you fully protected from the sunlight for a full day. In fact, you can stand in full sunlight and relish Wendy screaming as she catches fire and burns to death. Truly, sunlight is not very kind to vampires in the least, aside from Bella Tabon. You finish watching Wendy burn until there's nothing left but ashes. Truly, you have embraced your evil. Thornton Gillian would have been so pleased with you. You have nothing left to stop you now. You've destroyed your vampire family and claimed your freedom. You have ultimate power awaiting you, and one day you will be ready to face Bella Tabon and avenge the death of the greatest ancestor in your family tree. You are Elizabeth Gillian, and the supernatural world will know and fear your name soon enough. Especially once you, the last pure-blooded Gillian, have claimed the last pure-blooded Tabon. It's all part of your master plan, and you literally have all of eternity to accomplish it. And Bella Tabon will never, ever see you coming until it's too late.
Well, my spookies. Now the corn has gone still, the portal has shut, the scarecrow has burned, and somewhere in the dark, the nightlife is just getting started. That's the trouble with horror, isn't it? It never really stays where you left it. A town can be erased, but the fear lingers. A cursed movie can be destroyed, but you still wonder, who made it? A monster can be stitched together from lust, hay, and stupidity, and somehow still leave behind the feeling that maybe it wasn't finished with you. And vampires, well, vampires always seem to leave the door cracked open just enough to make you wonder whether becoming the monster might be easier than running from it. Thanks for spending this wicked little stretch with little old me tonight. While you're still among the living, make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast app so you never miss what comes creeping in next, because every Wednesday there's a brand new scary story waiting for you right here on Weekly Spooky. Until next time, keep the lights low, keep the doors locked, and don't trust anything that says it only wants your heart.